I forgot there was an intro there, but it's awesome. Yeah, hey guys, welcome back to the best podcast, gaming podcast, at least here in the Pacific Northwest, here in jolly old Bellingham, Washington. It is like 88 degrees in this room, probably higher than that, and it is warm in here. But hey, we're doing it. We're doing it through the heat. We do it through the cold. The show must go on. So welcome back. And we have a crazy packed show tonight as always. I hope you guys are having a good one, a good summer so far. It has been quite a blast. It is July 15th, 8 o'clock here in the Pacific Northwest, and we got another show. So welcome back, class. You just logged on to the Gaming Academy class number 40. Wow, it's a lot. It's a lot of episodes already. Time flies. Tonight, we're strapping in for a wild ride through some of gaming's weirdest corners, hottest debates, and of course, biggest life lessons. As always, we're kicking things off, and check this out, where we're showcasing some of the weirdest controllers ever made: chainsaws, gloves, fishing rods, and I don't know. Some of these things are kind of awkward, but that makes them fun. And would you actually want to use these weird controllers? Then we're taking a trip back through the time in this week in gaming history. Again, talking classics like Tales of Symphonia, Persona 3, Ghost of Tsushima, and more. Nostalgia buffs, you're gonna love that section. Over in the tech, Blazing Ace has another breakdown of the fan game project Fight Forever, highlighting the legend Cody, player 2 of the Final Fight game, and why fan communities keep these characters alive in ways officially games sometimes cannot. And of course, our new segment at the roundtable, we're going to be throwing down a big question. Are remakes helping or hurting the gaming industry? Is it honoring the past, or is it just a cash grab? There's been a lot of them, so we're kind of getting sick of it. So I'd like to hear the panel's take on that, and of course your take. So hopefully you chat in. I'm looking forward to that as well. Then we share what we're playing right now and now playing, from Monster Hunter Wilds to Mass Effect 2, because I did start that last week and it's been a blast so far. And finally, tonight we'll close with the final boss wisdom. Side quests make the hero, because it's not always about the main quest. Sometimes the detours is what make us who we really are. So grab your weirdest controller, check your inventory, get comfy, because class is officially in session. Let's go. And well, guess who's back? Back again. Guess who's back? Back again some more. It's good to have him back. I'll introduce him first this time, because he's been missed and he's been chatted about here. So welcome back, tragically.
Hey, yeah, you could say this is definitely the hottest podcast at the moment.
Yeah,
I'm
feels
on
that
the
way.
I'm on the third floor above our boy GQ here, and the heat rises. It is hot, 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 hot. So I've got a second AC unit I pulled out just for the podcast. Thanks for having me back.
Hey man, this is your home. Welcome back. Welcome home.
Yes,
I
this
do
is
have
my home.
brought my fan over there. Hopefully you guys can't hear it, but yeah, I had to bring it in here. I tried it without it, and I felt like I was in a sauna without the sauna. So
Yeah,
yes,
bad, bad.
yeah, it's pretty rough. It doesn't normally get this hot in Pacific Northwest, but here we are. Here we are.
Well, if it does, I feel like an AC unit for running for a little bit, it can kind of like offset, or having a fan is generally enough. But the last couple years have gotten pretty bad. From what I was hearing, this is the hottest it's going to get this summer. I don't know if I believe
Mm.
that, but at least for now, like if that's the worst it's got, we'll be fine. It's just we'll tough it out.
Yeah, I'll take this over Chicago heat any day for sure.
Yeah, yeah. A buddy of mine just moved to like the middle of the state, like Peoria area,
Yeah,
and he was like, every day here is like 90, and it feels like over 100. I'm like, yeah, yes, it does. I
yeah,
was
like
telling you. Now you know.
yeah, cook an egg on the sidewalk, and as soon as you get out of the shower, you feel like you need to get back in the shower. That's
Yep.
usually how it is. So, ooh, I don't miss that. But hey, welcome back, man. Good to have you as always. And I think everybody, agrees that you've been missed. So I know
Yeah, yeah.
you've been
Thanks
busy.
for let me take a little time. Sorry, I haven't been on the panel for a bit. I caught it when I could. For those who don't know, I have a daughter. She's a month old as of a few days ago. So my wife and I have been tackling that and been busy, and that's why I look so tired on stream tonight.
You have joined the gaming dads group officially.
Yeah, yeah. I am excited about the future, but
Right on.
then I see the stuff we're talking about tonight, and I'm like, I don't know if the future for gaming is too bright. This last week especially, I've wanted to chime in so much, especially with the changes happening in the industry. For people who follow our podcast, obviously my history, contracted through Microsoft and working with some people at Xbox Research, seeing them lose their jobs. It's been a hellscape the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. Actually found an article that I'd like to bring up if we have time. If not today, then the next time. So
Yeah, we can sort of talk about it. Speaking of talking about it, I did toss into the private chat. I forgot. Did you end up going over the choices for Mass Effect 1 before getting too far into 2? Like what you did or didn't do?
Yeah, well, I just imported my guy, so I just
Right.
saved it over.
But did you go back and see, like, we were going to talk about that before
No,
you started?
I've not.
Okay.
So that'd be great. Next time when I jump on, that'd be great.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Well,
So,
speaking of
who else
jumping
you got?
on, yeah. Speaking of jumping on, and another gaming dad, we got ourselves the straight from the source, the fire, the blazing, the Ace Nelson.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back. We got another massive session for you tonight, and honestly, it's refreshing just having the three amigos back on the panel.
That's right, the OG.
We had some fun with some other voices, but it's good to be back.
Oh yeah, it's like I said earlier when I popped on into the green room. The boys are back in town.
I would use that, but I don't want to get flagged.
Yeah, right.
No.
Instantly flagged, especially on YouTube. So, but yes, packed filled show tonight, guys. Let's just get going because I know that we got a lot to talk about here, a lot to catch up on. So let's, as always. Also, before I jump on to check this out. How'd you like that little intro? You saw that, Nick?
Yeah, that was fun. I liked it.
Yeah,
but seeing the little bit of changes, it's been nice. Looking forward to see what else we do moving forward.
Yeah, for sure.
Keep it.
Speaking
let's improve it. Enhance.
Well, speaking of moving forward, let's do as such. Check this out.
Yo, check this out.
Boom. All right. So if it's your first time here on the channel, check this out. This is where we just feature something specific, gaming related or pop culture related. And we want to share it with you guys. Like, for example, one of the times that we did, we covered a lot of gaming retro ads, how crazy they were back in the day. And we also did collector's editions of a variety of different video games. And this week we decided to cover weird video game controllers. So before I kind of just start diving into this, please, if you have any experience with weird video game controllers, and I'm pretty sure you'll know and find out some of these are very familiar to you, let us know in the chat. And if there's something that you really want us to see, pop it in the chat with the link, and we'll take a look. But I'd like to ask the panel, when we say weird video game controllers, what is the first controller that comes to mind?
The Steel Battalion console.
Yeah, that is weird and expensive.
I don't know if I'd call that one weird myself. It is obviously huge, had a giant box. I'm thinking weird like the weird offshoot Mad Catz controllers, the off-brand stuff, like the Wu-Tang controller. I remember that one, as well as the Wii bowling ball, that thing. That thing was weird.
Yeah, I mean, it also did we really need a Wii bowling ball controller?
Yes, we do. I mean, it's remember, let's talk old school. Remember the old U-Force controller back in the day, having to plug that into that field and with the joysticks on it, that was messed up too. But it also reminds me of the random PS1 controllers that would come in that was it looked like a Wii nunchuck controller with the joystick and D-pad on it. Those were weird too.
Yeah, there was a lot of weird what's a PS1 era? Was that 5th gen? Those are a lot of weird 5th generation controllers, and I remember at reset we just were what is this? Can we give you anything for this? This is weird,
there was that and the weird marketing controllers, the zombie samurai controllers on PS2 and stuff like that. It's just why is anyone buying these? They're idiots.
Right. So that's actually what's that, Ace? You got something?
I was about to say I actually got one of those zombie samurai controllers.
No.
Literally, when I got that, I was also picking up Onimusha and Samurai Wear, so it was just kind of a.
Did you ever get that Onimusha controller? That was the sword scabbard one.
No.
No? Oh, that thing! I thought that was cool, but it is weird. Looking back on it.
I thought it was kind of silly, but it's actually kind of rad at the same time.
It came with a stand. It was this is kind of cool.
Yeah, so let's see if I can pop this in over here. So There we go.
Yeah, look at that
There we
thing.
go.
I love how it has a scabbard. Like, why?
Yeah. Dude, it just reminds me of like getting those plastic like ninja swords at like the arcade with the tickets kind of thing. Like it seems
How do
cheap
you-
at first.
Do you hold it like this or like how? Like I don't
You have to
understand.
hold it. You have to hold it upright, like a samurai would, 2 hands.
Like, why not have the sticks where the handle is? So at least it feels like you're holding a sword. You know?
I gotta look that up now.
This is crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the dual analog, the way that's set up, that's weird.
Look at this live one here.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, we said
That's-
weird controllers. I didn't know about this.
It's a real thing. Yeah,
yeah.
that's crazy. Let's actually. I'm curious how much this would cost now because it seems pretty rare. It looks like there's one on eBay with the box. It's open, right? It's just with the box. This guy's been collecting it. Right around $540. So that's pretty. It's pretty up there. I didn't even know it really existed till now. So that's cool. I like that.
This came up when I know we got a whole bunch of ones to get through, but this one that I have, this reminds me of weird controllers. Like bringing it up, this kind of stuff that would come in. I'm sharing my screen with you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember this one.
A
This is
swivel
the-
joint in the
the
middle of that thing.
Neocon.
Yeah, that's weird.
I guess it's kind of like Mario Kart, the Mario Kart wheel without the wheel itself. You twist, then you turn. Like I guess you have to feel it, but
I mean, it's good for I'm like reading through this. It was like still like well received. Like apparently it was well made. It's just when you see it, you're just like, what the hell is this like swivel joint thing in the middle? Apparently it's for like racing games.
yeah, no, it's 100% for racing games. That's what it was for. But yeah, it's because Namco had a Ridge Racer, had Rage Racer, those a billion Ridge Racer games, right? So I'm not surprised.
Okay, as we get to the end of the list, I've got a bonus one I want to bring up, but
Sure.
go for it. What do we got?
Oh yeah. So the first one that immediately came to mind. Okay, well, we're talking weird controllers. Yeah, of course I know one easily, and of course I hope everybody has experienced this controller. But this thing is crazy. So this right here is the RE4 controller on the GameCube. Whenever it loads up here, but this thing is wild.
What?
Right? It's
What?
like
World?
can you imagine like you go to some sort of like like E3 and they go, hey, you want to test out our newest game RE4? You're like, hell yeah. You go over there and like, here you go, here's your controller. You're like, what is this? And I don't know, Nick, did you ever experience I think I saw this at the store once.
We
right?
got a couple of these in store. I don't know if the orange one is like something different. I remember getting the yellow one. I don't know if there's like different territories or colors, or maybe I'm just misremembering. But we got a couple of these in before because I remember we would take these to like conventions and sell them there to like collectors because that's where like the real money would be made. Because these became collector's items like pretty quickly.
This is absolutely mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is apparently like there's the yellow one that was the mostly the consumer like I guess friendly one, and the orange one is the collector's edition.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the super rare one. So
Yeah, okay, yeah. I've never seen the orange one in person. That yellow one we had all the time.
Yeah, the yellow one for sure. And I always thought it was dirty when we got it in. I'm like, man,
oh yeah,
take care of your controller, but just because of the blood spatters, right? But
well, the yellow one is obviously for the GameCube, and the orange one looks like it's actually built for the
PlayStation. Yeah, I don't remember RE4 having a collector's edition on PS2 though, so that's interesting. But it could have been in like a Japan only thing, right? We could have missed out on that one.
Very likely.
And remember, technically, RE4 was considered, exclusive to the GameCube until Capcom broke that, But here we are, and then now it's on the PlayStation 5. So, but yeah, that's a weird one from what I recall. But the next one is going to be pretty obvious. It's been seen in a lot of movies when it comes to retro video game controller of the 80s. And Chad, if you guys know what I'm talking about, I'll pull this up right here, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
So bad.
It's really bad.
The iconic.
The Power Glove. Now you're playing with power. Superpower. Oh, that's Super Nintendo ad. What is that?
Man.
Okay, first of all, panel, did you guys ever own one, wanted to own one outside of seeing it from the Wizard? Like,
I mean, I wanted to own it because of the Wizard, and
yeah,
then
that's right.
after working in a retro store and realizing how awful it was and
It was pretty bad.
unresponsive, like I think a lot of people, especially in like as internet became a thing and working at like GameStop and then at a retro store, like the AVGN's take on these classic peripherals and like watching him use it on this one was what a lot of people were referencing. Like it really was that bad, and then having to like code in with the wrist as well for each game, like it was a lot more complicated than I thought when I was a kid. I thought I could just plug it in and be awesome like the kid playing Rad Racer, but you know.
Yeah, and that's the part that I thought that sucked is I thought that like the programmers already had it figured out for us to just put it in and play, and like they tested it out. They know what the best feel it was for the game, but then you realize you're like, wait a minute, I have to like manually do this, and like if you're a kid, you're not smart enough for that, you know?
Yeah. Like, at that age too, and like caring for electronics, like when I was a kid, I certainly didn't care for them as well as I do now. Like that, I don't want to call it. It wasn't like a bait or switch or anything. It just wasn't known or expected. It just looked so cool. You thought you just plug it in and go kind of thing.
Yeah. Here's the fun part. It's made by Mattel. And when was the last time Mattel made a controller for video games? Right? Because this is Mattel Power Glove, which is super interesting. A on, A off, B down. This is so crazy. And I do I think aside from the Wizard, the only other show that made me want to get this was Captain N, the Game Master, because he had one. And I was like, "Oh, that's so sick!" It's like when cartoons work for marketing for kids, like back in like that. It totally worked. 100%.
Oh
yeah, so cool. I mean, and I think to be honest with you, like this is a great cosplay, like, right? Like right, this right here, I think for like a retro future punk, this is a great cosplay tool.
Well, it was one of the reasons I loved Kung Fury when it came out, when Hacker Man put one of these on. It was just like such a cool throwback to just like how cool this era was. Like, oh man, that is badass.
So right now,
love the internet.
I think the Power Glove with just by itself, it looks like it's averaging around $150 to $200, $250. So $150 to $250 range for a retro controller, right? So imagine having two
chainsaw level.
Can you imagine a person having like this as a controller using the RE4 chainsaw? Like it's the 5 controllers in one.
Yeah. Yeah, the Power Glove, if anything, we could say is like marketing works. Like, that thing was marketed so well.
It was pretty dope. Here's one I think Nick would notice. This was, I don't know if I think I saw one of these at the store, but you tell me. Do you remember this guy?
Oh yeah, we had a few of those in definitely. Yeah. I think PlayStation actually had one as well. It wasn't just PC. Okay. Yeah, like this was like bass fishing. The bass fishing games for a while there were pretty popular. A lot of people got into those. Like Sega bass fishing, especially like being the more arcadey one. I remember that was pretty popular around the DC time. Yeah, no, I remember those, man. We got those all the time.
Here's the PlayStation version.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Man, I think this is like the future of gaming right here. I'm a little late, but like fishing in Monster Hunter or something, like if you use this right here, it'd be so sick.
With as many games as have fishing mini games in them.
Yeah. No, and that's what I mean. That's like I feel like this is like, you know, like we've been missing
like
out.
Marketing this as an additional controller you need to buy for your like HTC Vive or something.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Your VR headset, get this additional fishing controller so you could have realism.
You know, we talk about like things coming out too early for its time. Fishing controllers just came through.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason some of these strange controllers like were made. I get it. Like, I get the thought behind it and why it'd be kind of cool. Some of them flopped, some of them didn't.
Here's the Interact fishing controller. Interact was super popular. I think they were the ones responsible for like what was the vest that you wore that made the bases?
Oh, yeah, the force feedback
yeah
thing. Yeah, no, I don't remember the name of it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I was like, man, I can't afford that. I'm a child. Like that's what I remember. I don't have a job.
It reminds me of the controller that I was going to bring up because it popped into my head as we were discussing this. I'll bring up at the end just things that what they're intended for and what people end up using them for.
Yeah, no worries. All right, here's the popular one. I saw only one of these in the store while we were there. This is the old baby Steel Battalion controller because that was an experience of a game. When the game revolved around this controller, and I think there was also foot pedals from what I remember as well. So I
Getting
think
a
this
complete
thing,
set and getting a complete set with the OG box and then getting the complete set in the OG box in good condition. That was like the tiers of these coming in. Because you can go to conventions and find just this flat itself, just the control pad. Finding the pedals on top of that, having everything work, having the OG box, and then having it in good condition. Like that was a little more of a unicorn status. They are collector's items with conditioning, like as a thing. Absolutely.
Yeah, this thing was crazy.
If I remember right too, the box was like was basically an armory crate too. Like it was cool. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it looked like a munitions box.
Yeah.
Super cool. And I wish like this thing had more support, like it worked on Mech Warrior or Mech Assault, because Mech Assault was for the Xbox also.
I mean, this made you feel like you were playing.
Dude, yeah, this was the thing. And the funny part is, like, I think before this, when Wizards of the Coast was still in Capitol Hill in downtown, or not downtown Seattle, but Seattle, by the university, I do remember going there and playing a mech. I think it was Mech Warrior or it was BattleTech simulator. There were 4 pods or 6 pods that you would play. And it was a big arcade. And then this was the controller. You use the foot pedals to like walk, and this is you shoot the arm with the arms. It was crazy. And then to see this at a home console, you're like, I want that. Then you look at the price, you're like, I can't have it.
Yeah, can't have it. Never gonna have it. I really wanted this. I just remember like growing up watching a bunch of like mech kind of films. This is going to be a throwback and I might date myself a little bit, but I love the cheesy movie Robot Jocks. I don't know. Yeah. Oh my god, I wanted to be in Robot Jocks so bad growing up. And this, like, when I saw this controller, I'm like, oh, I can finally, because I played like Mech Warrior 2, and I saw this controller, I'm like, hell yeah, I can finally get into it. And just realizing how unwieldy it was, and like James was saying before, like really before its time. If I remember right, like someone modded or like programmed some kind of software. Hell yeah, dude! That art right there is so much better. Like this is false advertising. That looks badass. But the cheese once you watch the movie, minus a couple scenes, still holds up pretty well. But yeah, the acting's a little rough.
It's never too late for part 2.
But yeah, I remember someone like programmed something to get it to connect to like more modern PCs to like work for a bunch of different games. Like that would be really cool if there was more of a mass market push behind that. But yeah, man, that's a weird controller.
Apparently, this is the Blu-ray art. This is crazy. That's cool. Yeah, I haven't seen Robot Jocks like poster in a long time.
I don't know if you've seen the movie in a long time, but we should do a movie night and watch that and react because
Robot Jocks, yeah, absolutely.
I love it so much. Absolutely. You can actually get like scale models of it too, and it looks so cool.
And yeah, well, you know, I like Pacific Rim, so to get a Robot Jocks like updated to be sick too. I mean, the closest thing we have right now would be what's that? Real Steel, right? With the Wolverine. But yes, that is the weird controllers. Which one? What was the last one that you had?
The last one that I had was a little controller called the Trance Vibrator.
Oh,
so that was for Res. Yeah, that was for Res. I know the picture's kind of shitty and small, but this was only for Res, and it only came out in Japan because it released kind of towards the tail end. It was intended. So first off, it's called the Vibrator. I'll give you one guess, Ace, judging by your face, what people actually used it for.
Massages.
Yeah. So the idea behind it is you're supposed to like put it in that little pocket and like have it near your lap so you could feel the beats of the game as it vibrated. Because remember, this was kind of that like really weird music, kind of esoteric, shapes kind of game. So the idea was it would vibrate and you can get a heighten that sense of like being involved in the game kind of thing.
So it's like a well, it was intended to be, like a, early haptic feedback system.
Kind of, yeah, or just like feeling the bass in your car. It's not rattling around in your, 92 Civic or anything, like having the back fall off. This is like, yeah, on one of the wikis for it, it literally says on here, the plan backfired as many people used the peripheral for perverted purposes. So, yeah, this, yeah, and then Res HD had like the rumble pack on the 360's controller, which would vibrate with the beats. That was kind of like the follow up to it. But like the original creator said, I never meant for it to be for sexual purposes, but that people are going to find a way.
Well, I mean, he's probably never heard of the internet, so that's probably weird.
Granted, this was way before that.
Right. Here, and I'm gonna put this in the chat, guys. This is a link to a video from Screw Attack. If you guys remember them. And this was their top 10 best and worst gaming peripherals, and this guy made it to one of the top 10. So check that out when you guys have a chance. I thought it was funny, and keep in mind it does have humor from the 2000s, so it's going to be a little bit offensive to some, but check it out. You don't have to. But.
It's really interesting. You saying that there's a couple videos I went back to rewatch lately.
Yeah.
Just from that like Eric's like nostalgia. I throw it on in the background as my trying to get my baby to sleep. It's like I feel like watching this in the background for myself.
Yeah, nostalgic.
Yeah, but there's some like lines and stuff. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Well.
No, I'm the same way. I watch my own videos, and I'm like, oh, I said
yeah. That? I don't. I like. Part of me wants to really. I do want to play Left 4 Dead 2 together again. Yeah. But like going back and rewatching that, like of the times.
Yeah, definitely. It's a timepiece, is what they call it. So, Ace, you were saying something?
Oh no, I was just
tranced out.
He's thinking. Yeah. He's thinking about the trance vibrator.
Well, with that said, that is this episode of Yo, check this out. Woo! All right. That's another one down, and another one pops up. Guess what, guys? It's my favorite and your favorite segment of the show, This Week in Gaming History. Still good. Still good. Holds up. Holds up. All right. If it's your first time here and you don't know what the heck we're doing, it's okay. We also don't know what the heck we're doing. But in This Week in Gaming History,
that's fired, man.
Yeah, we're covering games from Sunday to Saturday. In this case, from 7/13 all the way to what? 7? I don't know math. 19. All right. So let's get going. Here we go. Let's take a trip back to memory lane. So on 7/13, Metal Gear came out on the MSX, and I was kindly surprised I found a box art for the MSX cartridge. I was not expecting to use that. I was expecting to use the Nintendo one. It doesn't look too different. A little bit faded, of course, because it's old. But in 1987, it came out in Japan. Now, has anyone played the OG Metal Gear start to finish, or even
not start to finish, no, but
I never finished the game, but played it absolutely.
Yeah, I once again, as a child, I was not smart. I did not know how to play RPGs nor tactical operational stealth games. So I played this and I got extremely frustrated. Didn't know what to do because I was like using all my pistol ammo, and I was like, I'm stuck. I don't know what's going on. So it wasn't a game
on the MSX.
It looked really good. It's just like for me, like I said, for me, like it wasn't like a game that like I know that I would like because I wasn't smart enough for that. Especially Snake's Revenge 2, which was a sequel. Technically not a real sequel to the game, we found out. It's like its own thing. But like Metal Gear had a weird like history or time with US West and East. Just because like it would kind of bounced around on like what the real, if it was a sequel or not, if it was canon to the storyline. So yeah, it was. I just didn't have what do you call this? The brain power to play this kind of game when I was a child. I was more of a
patience.
Yeah, I was more of a beat 'em up, like shoot 'em up kind of guy. Life Force and Contra. But yeah, that was. This is where it all started. I think you play as the OG Big Boss, the guy from 3. Right. and this is where it all began. And this is like he's like trying to infiltrate outer heaven. And there's one before, there's one after this that we never got to see in America, but it was in the Legacy Collection on the PS3 and Xbox 360. And that was the one where you actually had Big Boss like as the boss. Like you became like the boss in the second game. So that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, other games that came out this day, Super R-Type on the SNES in 1991. And apparently I watched a quick documentary about Super R-Type. Apparently it was a big deal to have it on a console at the time because it was like one of the highest and hypest what was that? Horizontal shooters out there at the time. Tales of Symphonia on the GameCube in 2004. Shin Megami Tensei Persona 3 on the PS2 in 2006 in Japan. Pikmin 3 on the Wii U in 2013 in Japan. And also Hey Pikmin on the 3DS in 2017 in Japan. So it was Pikmin Day, July 13th, the whole year. All right. So for the next one, we got ourselves on the 14th. Return Fire came out on the 3DO, probably our first 3DO game on the channel. Came out in
we were talking about a couple other ones, but not Return
like,
Fire. Look at that cover art.
But like featured wise, right? Featured wise. Yeah, different art cover, definitely for the other consoles. Let's see if I can find it. Definitely a lot more interesting. This game also came out for the PlayStation. Have you guys ever played Return Fire?
No, I have not. I didn't have a 3DO.
Yeah. So pull up. So I'll be real quick. I'll show you the artwork for the PlayStation. It's kind of small there. Actually, let me see if there's a big.
Okay, I recognize that cover art.
Yeah, it was in the long box. It was one of the first games. PlayStation. Let me see this one. If this one works better. Okay. Yeah, that's the one.
Oh yeah,
that's,
the plastic long box.
Yep, that's the OG. Now I know you got some. You got a video of this. So this game is legit capture the flag, and it plays. Oh, you lost Ace. It plays like a trilogy. A triangle combat strategy where the Jeep is the only one that can capture the flag. All right, the armored vehicle beats the helicopter beats the tank, and the tank beats the armored car. So it's a 1v1 on a big map, and it's like whoever can capture the flag first and return it back to their base wins. Right?
Wow.
It's super. Yeah, there you go. So here it is. You finally get the flag, and you with your Jeep you try to get it back. So then once you get the flag, it starts playing music. Like I think it's like something with the bumblebees. Right? It's a classical song.
Flight of the Bumblebees.
Yeah, Flight of the Bumblebee. And then
Yeah,
funniest is when you pick the helicopter, it plays what do you call it, the Flight of the Valkyries.
Oh, okay.
So and you're like it's like it has this like really like highbrow comedy attached to it. But when you're a kid, it's really fun. It's when you play it with your friend, it's split screen co-op, right? Or not co-op, but split screen, like competitive. So it was one of the first super entertaining like versus games out there at the time. So
that's crazy.
If you guys haven't checked out Return Fire, definitely check that out. But the 14th was actually a super big day for gaming. Mario Brothers also had released on the arcades in 1983, and I'm not talking about Super Mario Brothers. I'm talking about just the OG Mario Bros, where you guys are in the sewer, right? And you you jump towards the floor and you knock people over. That was the OG Mario Bros. Also featuring the music for today's show, Mario Paint. Also came out in 1992 in Japan, right along with Super Mario All-Stars in 1993. And Nintendo was like, hey, let's keep releasing games. Yoshi Safari also came out in 1993 in Japan, and that was the one using the Super Scope. So they were like, we're going to give you a mouse for a peripheral. We're also going to give you a bazooka. For a peripheral for that time.
Speaking of wild peripherals for gaming systems.
Yep. I was a huge fan of the Super Scope just because I felt like, they raised the ante with like the zapper. They're like, what can we do to make it cooler? let's make it a rocket launcher. And I was like, cool. Let's see here. F-Zero X also came out on the N64. See, Threads of Fate, it's a random RPG on the PlayStation in 2000. One of the best King of Fighters, King of Fighters 13 came out in the arcades in 2010. Deception 4, Nightmare, the Nightmare Princess came out on a PS3, PS4, and Vita in 2015. And the super rare gem of Godzilla that came out on the PS3 and PS4 also came out in 2015. Man, we got a lot to chat about here, but I know Ace has King of Fighters highlighted here, so I'd like to learn about that before I jump into Godzilla.
Yeah, so with KOF 13, the first time I had actually had the chance to play that in the arcades was actually at this was back while I was still living in SoCal and Arcade Infinity was open. So I got the chance to go there, and oddly enough, this was actually one of the matches that was going.
It's so cool, yeah.
But I got to play this, at Arcade Infinity while I was down, visiting family in SoCal. But after coming back up here, I got incredibly lucky and actually managed to find the file of KOF 13. I actually managed to find a download for KOF 13, and I, got that sucker on disc, and I literally spent weeks just going through playing it, playing it on PC. This was before I had actually gotten a decent controller, so I was playing a whole lot of KOF 13 on keyboard.
Wow. That's what I was doing, a lot of keyboard fighting game playing with when MAME was out. I was playing a lot of people online. It's, for you guys out there, this is big for the King of Fighters series, because if you look at the other King of Fighters games at the time, the 2D pixel art this elevated to, this is peak 2D pixel art. Matter of fact, I was reading this game is really interesting. I was reading a development article about this game, and they were saying like each character took like 3 months to make, something like that. Because of the amount of work. There's a 3D model behind all those pixels for the characters, and they like rotoscoped it or something. Like, it's super fancy, and it was a very expensive game for what it was.
Oh, it really was, but the effort that was put into it was well worth it, especially considering the reception that it got once it released on consoles, and hell, especially with the most recent KOF 13, I think it was the global match.
Yeah, they re-released it with like good online code. Yeah, so yeah, it's just as a fighting game fan, this is peak 2D fighting, right? Because we're always talking about like how fighting games have switched over to 3D models. Yeah, the King of Fighters 13 is like, man, this is still 2D fighting, 2D models, actually 3D models, but like with 2D sprites over them. It's in terms of art and like design, this is like them like maxing out their like stats and saying, hey, let's create the best King of Fighters game we can with the best tech, as much as possible. And yes, it was very impressive.
And on top of that, after years of not having like a solid King of Fighters game, I mean, after years of not having a solid KOF to actually play and move the series forward, KOF 13 finally brings an end to the story arc that started back in KOF 2003.
Oh yeah, you're right. This game ended like the story arc. It's weird because it like reset it, right? In a way for the writers to be like, let's we're gonna change the story up a little bit, but still honor like how the transition to the new story. So if you guys want to follow it, like, yeah, there's probably a whole YouTube video about King of Fighters and the story on the internet, and I'm pretty sure Ace has it, and he can probably share it with you guys. But like, yeah, it's super interesting. This is kind of like where this, and also the company was going through a change. They weren't SNK anymore. They were SNK Playmore, and then they eventually just became Playmore. Then they got their company back, right? So they were really working on recovering like their legacy, because they were going through some tough times as well. So yeah, a lot of history on this game for sure. Yeah, so the game that I wanted to feature was Godzilla. And the reason why, because I'm looking at a copy of Godzilla right now on eBay, and it's $400 used.
What?
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. I bought Godzilla when I worked at the local game store because I'm a huge fan of kaiju, right? And it is a Godzilla game. Like literally, like, hey, you want a Godzilla game? Here's a Godzilla game for you. And I think the reason why it's $400, it never got a reprint. I also think their license expired, so they can't sell it digitally, like Tohei or Toho. Lost, or Namco doesn't have their license anymore, so they can't digitally distribute the game. But if I could be wrong, that's totally fine. But like, I just know that this was a rare print. There's like one run. Not everybody knew what it was. I have a playthrough on my channel on this. And I had some people like, and I always have this like knack of like playing these super rare games, and people like commenting like years later after I play them, saying, "Oh, this game's cool." I'm like, "Where were you when I was playing this live?"
I remembered one of the reasons it's so expensive is because when this game came out, it was panned by everyone. No one liked it. Like it has a Metacritic score. I just had to look it up because I remember it wasn't great. It has a Metacritic score of 38 out of 100.
Yeah,
like
it wasn't
this
good, it wasn't
game.
great.
Yeah, it basically flopped out of the gate, so there was no way they were going to do a reprint of it.
Yeah.
It didn't sell well enough. Plus, the one we
Yeah.
got in the West was a upgraded version from the release in Japan.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
it's one of those ones that super low amount on the market, and a game that started to get like kind of a cult favorite afterwards because
Yeah,
it is
it's
a
always
kaiju
that.
one.
It's
Yeah,
always
so
that
it's just,
afterwards.
that's one of my favorite conversations to have with my wife over the years. She's like, as I get rid of games or buy new games or collect, and then eventually get rid of one or two, she's like, how do you know? And it's like, you don't most of the time. It's really hard to tell like what's going to be collectible in 5-10 years. Sometimes you can get a little bit of insight, but yeah, no, this one was not what I expected.
I think this one in Japan is called Godzilla Versus, and then in the West it's called Godzilla.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like the reason why I think it wasn't, because they were trying to honor like the slow motion of like the old kaiju movies, right? The feeling of like, oh, I'm gonna slow punch you, kind of like that. And of course, it's a video game, and people are not. It doesn't feel good to play, so it's not going to be like highly rated. But I see where they were going with it. You know, but if they sped it up, if there's some sort of turbo mode or whatever, I felt like it would have been better accepted, because there was a pretty fun. It's technically an arena fighter, right? Kind of like Naruto and all those games. Because when the other kaiju shows up, it becomes that. But right now, you're destroying property, so you can have the other kaiju come in, kind of like King of the Monsters, the OG one of the SNK. But yeah, no, just wanted to feature that a little bit for you guys.
Yeah, that's one of those ones where maybe expectations versus what we got kind of thing. Like even
Yeah.
looking at some like the original reviews for this, a lot of people were saying like they nailed the old school monster vibe. Like people who are fans of the old school Godzilla, they liked that aspect of this game. But from what it's saying here, and I forgot about this, there's almost like no depth of gameplay.
Yeah,
It's
there is
really
no depth.
straightforward. There isn't a lot of modes, if any. Like there's no local co-op gameplay. A one-on-one fighting game should incorporate the most basic function of the genre, with an online mode instead being the preferred extra feature, kind of thing. So it's like, oh, yeah, I could see why maybe it didn't do so good. But yeah,
And
now it's expensive. Now
this
people
game belongs in the
collect it.
museum. Pretty much. Pretty much. All right, move on to the next day, the 15th over here. And guess what? Happy birthday, Nintendo. It is the 42nd birthday. Yeah, 42nd birthday of Nintendo today. So I specifically wanted to get a photo of this entertainment system, because this is the one I got. And no, this is not the second, third print. This is the first print, because the gun was gray, not and then
Literally 4 months older than I am.
right? Because when they second printed the action set, they made the gun red, and I think it was also right down the middle of the box had a Mattel logo on it, because they're the ones that helped supply the manufacturing at the time, right? clearly they don't need Mattel anymore. So Nintendo has turned it into its own powerhouse. But this technically, arguably, was my first video game console ever since. Yeah. All right, guys, what's your Nintendo stories? Let's hear them. Chat, what do you got? Also,
Oh, my Nintendo story, all like it seems like every Nintendo story I have relating to like back when I was younger, all revolves around Christmas.
yes, yeah.
It was, it was actually once the system released in '85. Once it came out in the States in '84, '85. You know, my uncle had, gotten the system. He got, the whole act. He got the action set, but then he also picked up Gyromite. And,
Yeah, Gyromite.
Yep, and he got Rob the Robot with that. And like out of everything I remember that year, I literally remember just like being in my little, in my little rocker as a little baby or a little toddler, just literally chilling next to the Christmas tree, watching everybody play the Nintendo.
God,
and
that box in good condition.
like what exactly everybody played, or like how long they played, it didn't really matter to me, especially at the time. But just I see the box for the Nintendo, and it literally just brings those memories and those sensations rushing back. It's almost like I can even smell the Christmas tree just looking at that box.
Yeah, it brings back those memories, right? I definitely got mine right around Christmas. I think it was like a birthday Christmas present, right? It was a combined present. It was a very expensive. From what I recall, it was around $250 US in 1987 when my parents had bought it. But also, the action set is also my expectation of why consoles should come with two controllers. Right, because now they come on one, but before I was like, how come it only comes with one controller? Like the action, this is my first console. My expectation was two controllers. Right. What about you, Nick?
I just remember living in Riverdale, which is where I grew up, which is on the south side of Chicago, and being in the basement with my dad during summers because that was the only cool place that we had. It was down in like the concrete basement. And I just remember just being blown away, even at that age. He could like play duck hunt and shoot from behind the bar into our old the old big screen TV. Had a giant box on it, and he could like hit it. Whereas I had to like stand up basically right next to the thing. Like just imagining those moments is one of my like fondest moments of thinking back to the NES. Is just remembering my dad being just really, really good at duck hunt and like blowing me away, and I wanted to get good and like beat him, so I would like stand back there as well sometimes in practice when he wasn't around.
Yeah. Some good memories, right?
Yeah, good memories. And working in a retro store, seeing stuff like this come through. Shout out, by the way, I didn't want to just grab this from him. Jor, vintage Pokemon. You don't find it too many times where it's in this kind of condition, especially the outer box that he had.
Yeah,
like, most of the time it's
pretty good.
Yeah, and he's pointing out some of the dents and stuff, but this is really, really good. There's a reason you go to cons and see people charging hundreds for boxes in good conditions. Like getting these and collecting them it's a whole thing. It's kind of overwhelming sometimes.
I'm actually just quite stunned. Like this thing is like in almost perfect condition.
Yeah, and having like styrofoam that's not yellowed like crazy. Having that is the original bag for it too. I recognize that on the control deck
with the red letters on it.
Yeah,
dude, this is like making my inner child smile.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the reasons I loved working at the retro store. I mean, say what you will about sometimes like being later in life and be like, man, I'm still working in retail. It was really cool to see this kind of stuff come through because you're hit with that wave of nostalgia, and you're just like, man, this just makes me happy.
Yeah, no, that's it. That's it right there. This just makes me straight up happy. That's it. You know what doesn't make me happy is Monster Hunter Generations coming out on 3DS. And also, actually, I was pretty happy when this came out. Legend of Mana also came out on the PlayStation, $19.99 in Japan. And pretty light day. Let's save this one for the for Nintendo. Happy birthday, Nintendo! for NES at least. Congratulations, 42 years. Now, the next game here, the next day we got here is specifically for Ace because I seen him play this on his channel. Brave Fencer Musashi on the PlayStation came out in 1998, and I specifically chose the Japanese box art because it is the Japanese version. Musashi Den. In the US, it's just Musashi. I think Musashi Den just means like Musashi's story or something like that.
Mhm.
Story Musashi. But yeah, let's tell us a little bit about it while I grab the.
Okay, so best way I could start this off is Nintendo fans, y'all got Zelda. But for those of us that had the PlayStation, especially those of us that were enjoying, stuff like Final Fantasy VII back when it came out, Musashi was our Link. Right? Just the sheer, like, the charm and the humor that this game has, just oozing from every polygon. Just it
The hair. The
Yeah,
charm, the hair.
But I remember getting the chance to actually play the demo of, like, on the same disc that the demo for this was on. It was also, it was Brave Fencer Musashi, Final Fantasy VIII, and Xenogears, all on the same demo disc.
That is a demo disc.
Right? I got stupid amounts of hours out of that disc, and the majority of it, like the most time I spent on that demo disc, I actually spent playing this.
That's one of the reasons I started like really getting into the Funhouse guys was when they were doing demo discs because it just reminded me of my childhood.
Those are pretty fun, yeah.
Watching them just play or pull out those discs, I'm like, I had that one, like the Rainbow Six Siege one,
Underground.
Yeah, PlayStation Underground. Getting the Game Pro magazine just for its like demo discs, and then eventually the OXM ones. Like, yeah,
dude, this background is wild. This is amazing. This is the wizardry.
But there's one thing in particular that always gets me about this game. It's not just that the gameplay is actually really freaking solid, but it's the music. And as you go through the game, at the start of the game, part of what spurs Musashi on, aside from the fact that this is basically an isekai, part of what spurs Musashi on is that he's actually helping rescue the citizens of the castle. And as you rescue more of the castle citizens, there's actually a set of band members that you rescue. And as you basically reunite the band, the theme in the castle actually changes and evolving depending on the instruments of the band members you've rescued.
That's fun.
So by the time you rescue everybody and you hear like the full castle theme, like I remember the very night that I was actually playing, sitting down, I was playing my own copy of the game. And the night that I finally managed to rescue everybody and get that full theme at the castle, even thinking about it now, I'm starting to get choked up a little bit. But that was a powerful time for me.
Appreciate you sharing that.
That sense of it, that real sense of accomplishment, and that sense of resolving a story that I had gotten so invested in. And I didn't even know I was that deeply hooked until I heard that theme and I literally started crying.
Does Brave Fencer come in a double jeweled case? Can't remember.
Yeah. It had a demo disc with it, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it's over there.
Can't read in the dark.
And also just because of how much this game meant to me, like it. There we go. But yeah, it was a no-brainer that I actually wanted to sit down and play through it on the channel. And I think the only other RPG that I had played on my on my Twitch channel that had as much engagement as Musashi, not just from myself, but also from the chat, was Chrono Trigger.
You're the RPG guy. Let's see here. Yeah, and were you a little bit disappointed of the sequel or successor, I guess?
There is no sequel.
All right, there you go. There you go. You heard it from the horse's mouth.
There was only one game, damn it.
It just doesn't have the same charm. I think it grew up, and we were like, "What is this?" We turned into Peter Pan, and we're like, "Like, what happened?" Game. We got old. But yeah, let's see here. It looks like you have two for this one, but I'll read them off. Starship Hector on the Nintendo in 1987. That was my choice. I want to put that there. Tomba also came out this day on 1998. That's another rare PlayStation title.
Still shocked the shit out of me that apparently it's getting a remake.
Yeah, that's crazy as well. Dynasty Warriors 8 on the PS3 and 360 in 2013. Gee, I don't know why we have that game on here. And Pokken Tournament, the arcade, came out in 2015.
The real reason I went away for those few weeks.
There you go. All right, so I personally like 7 a lot. The storytelling in 7 was like prime for me, but 8 is the ultimate game for Dynasty Warriors. Before moving on to the next. Yeah, tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, and Dynasty Warriors 8, I think this is actually if I could say there was a game that I triple or quadruple dipped on, it would be Dynasty Warriors 8.
Man's a fan. He's got W Force's number on his speed dial.
Right, when it came out in Japan, I imported it on.
You know what, Ace, at this point, you just might want to check and see if you have stock options for this company. I'm pretty sure you get it on the ground floor and have bought it. You funded every single Dynasty Warriors release.
That's true. That's facts.
I'll have to double check. But yeah, I imported Dynasty Warriors 8 when it came out in Japan. I bought it in the US when it came out on PS3. I picked up the complete edition on PS4, and I bought it again on Steam. But yeah,
you're me, rebuying Dragon Age Origins every time it goes on sale and every edition that comes out.
Yep.
Or like Skyrim.
But,
on a new platform with a new update, sweet.
Right. But like GQ said earlier, though, this 7 really was fantastic as far as the storytelling, but the most refined game in the series for that particular generation of Dynasty Warriors was definitely 8. How Dynasty Warriors 4 did storytelling fantastic, but then Dynasty Warriors 5 had all the gameplay, all the major gameplay upgrades. It was pretty much
I will say, every time you talk about this, it just makes me want to rewatch Kingdom.
And also, because Dynasty Warriors 8 was such a big deal for myself, for GQ, and for our 2 other cohorts.
Actually, have you watched that, Ace? Speaking of, have you watched Kingdom, the anime?
No, I haven't had the chance to yet.
Okay. Stick with it. The first season's a little rough with the animation. They went CGI with some of the stuff. But the later seasons 3, 4, 5, you would love, especially knowing your love for Dynasty Warriors.
That's the one where it focuses on Sao, right?
It focuses on is it Quinn?
Oh, Qin Dynasty.
Yeah, so their rise during the Warring States period, not rise, but basically they're fighting back and expanding towards the later part of it. But it follows this guy who's basically he and his friend end up wanting to become great generals, and it follows their story kind of thing.
I think that was I think that was Sao, because I remember there was a childhood flashback of Sao. I was like, I want to rule this country somehow. So check it out, Ace. I think it's right up your alley.
Yeah, just stick through the first season.
Right. But one thing I was going to mention, since we did mention on a previous episode that we did a podcast review for Anarchy Reigns, Dynasty Warriors 8 was a big enough deal where we also not only did two rather substantive reviews for it, both on the Hooligans and Too Asian for You, but then there was our crossover incident.
You should get the link and put it in the chat.
Give me a moment. I will pull those up as we keep moving forward. But yeah, go ahead.
We got a lot of history on that on this game. So yeah, I'll pull that up in the chat and we'll move on to the next day over here.
Yep.
All right. So on the 17th, Gargoyles Quest 2 came out on Nintendo in 1992 in Japan. Now I brought up the Japanese box art. Probably nobody knows what this, because all I remember is the NES version, or the US version of this. So let me pull that up.
Is that Demon's Crest?
No, it's actually Gargoyles Quest. But yeah, Demon's Crest was the Super Nintendo version.
Oh, the Super. You're right.
Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, this is the US version has always given us like this like D&D style artwork, right? Like it was very like clearly a quite the juxtaposed to the Japanese one, just manga looking. Ours is very like TSR for you old heads like me. TSR is like the old D&D company, and this reminds me of their like artwork, one of their manuals and their covers for their books. Sequel to Gargoyles Quest 1, which I think was this also a Metroidvania? Because I know Demon's Crest was a Metroidvania.
Gargoyles Quest on the.
Looking at the gameplay, it reminds me a lot of Link's Awake, or the second Zelda game on the NES.
Okay, Link's Adventure.
Yeah, where it had like you can see like the over top map when he's outside, and then it goes into like the side scrolling when he's in stage.
Do you have the gameplay?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there it is. Oh, there it is. Oh wow, that looks very Final Fantasy, and oh wow, oh yeah, you're right. It is Link's Adventure.
Yeah, it feels a lot like that.
And he also has Arthur's Jump. Oh, great.
Flashbacks.
Yeah. Oh well, the Arthur Jump thing is like him spreading his legs when he jumps out. So like that's
with sweet wings though.
No, this is cool. But yeah, I never put two and two together. That's pretty cool. There's some other great games that came out this day also. Hook for the Super Nintendo came out in 1992. Street Fighter EX Plus Alpha came out on the PlayStation in 1997. My choice for the night, Boktai, The Sun Is in Your Hand. It sounds like a what is that, Sunny D commercial? The Sun Is in Your Hand. Came out on the GBA in 2003 in Japan. Mega Man X7 also came out on the PS2 in 2003 in Japan. And Silent Line.
Were we just talking about that earlier?
Right? Yeah, burning it to the ground. Absolutely. Silent Line. I thought that was 8, but I could be wrong. Silent Line Armored Core came out on the PS2 in 2003. Star Wars KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic, came out on the Xbox in 2003. Ghost of Tsushima also came out on the PS4 in 2020. And Paper Mario, the Origami King, the latest Paper Mario game, came out on the Switch in 2020. What a big day for gaming. It must have been like a summer or something. But anyways, you had EX Street Fighter EX Plus Alpha here. I know you've been talking about the EX game. So what makes this one special or stand out?
Simply put, EX Plus Alpha was literally the first time I had seen anything Street Fighter related in 3D.
Oh yeah, that's big.
That was pretty big on its own. But aside from that, when it comes to Street Fighter games,
Ellen,
I will always look back on the EX games fondly because of the music.
Yeah, no, they were like fun. The EX games.
Yeah,
they weren't serious. They felt good to play. It almost to me felt like I was playing a 3D alpha game.
Yeah,
right, because it didn't really follow like the Street Fighter 2 or Street Fighter 3 game feel. It felt more like an alpha game, especially with the cancels and stuff like that. So pretty interesting. Yeah,
And,
and that I mean that's my experience with it.
and I
Alan
also
was the fun one. He was like the Dan, right? Kind of.
Mhm. But also for a while when I had a copy of this on the PS1, I also had the Versus Book strategy guide.
So was it
So
hardcover or no?
no, it wasn't hardcover. But just having that on hand and actually reading through it to like learn how to do some of the combos in the trial mode to get past that. Reading up on that stuff actually helped me, improve my fighting game fundamentals. Of
Oh,
course, it also helps that
also got the
it
second
also
one.
helps that part of the it also helps that one of the co-authors on the strategy guide was Alex Valle.
Oh, no, that'll do it. It's a legend.
Yeah.
Something just came to me mentally is that like one of the reasons I started collecting PS1 games again was the PS3 was able to play it like flawlessly. Just put it in, it plays. And so that kind of like really enhanced my like game selection. Like I could opt to buy it digitally on their store, but the fact that I can go to my retro game store and like, do you have a copy of EX Plus Alpha? Yeah, just pick it up and pop it in the machine. Right? That's super cool. Like I feel like that's something that we'll never really get back anymore because digital sales is where they're going, and there's not much value in retro gaming for the company. As moving forward. So it's kind of sad. Makes me sad. So let's not jump into that. My choice, Nick, if you have this gameplay video, is Boktai. The sun is in your hand, because this game was one of the first games Hideo Kojima. And this was special because not only was it a handheld Game Boy Advance game, but this man is playing checkers or playing chess while we're all playing checkers, because he designed this game, this vampire killing game, right? To leverage the solar rays of the sun, right? To strengthen your character's power in the game. Do you know about this game, Ace?
Oh, I've heard about it, but I haven't really.
Okay, you see the sun meter on the bottom there?
Mhm.
To make that go up, you actually had to raise the cartridge towards the sun for it to charge up. So you had a bunch of weird kids walking out with their Game Boys, pointing it to the sun so it can get charged, because when you're killing vampires in this game, you have to use the power of the sun to kill them, right? Look at that. Super, man, we're talking like innovative Kojima, right? Like that was his thing. Like, how can I make kids go outside and play this game and not be able to play it on a cloudy day, you son of a gun? Like, that was the one drawback. But yeah, if you think about it, it's like, wow. I mean, the game looks good, right? From what I remember, it plays good. But the fact that you're using the environment, literally your own environment, as part of the gameplay is super cool, or hot, I would say. But yeah, that was one of the big things that really stood out for this game. I don't even know what you would do if the solar panel stopped working on your cartridge. Like, is this game just dead to you? Like, is there a warranty? Like, or is there an option to turn it off? Right. So it's very interesting, but one of a kind. I don't know why I highlighted Mega Man X7. I don't really have any attachment to that aside from its. Was it the first PS2 X game, Mega Man X game?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, tell us about. I know we talked about this
Mega
already.
Man X game, and also kind of like with Street Fighter EX, it was the first time that Mega Man X was in 3D.
Correct. Yeah, and that was big. This was the transition from like 2D to 3D with Capcom's library. It was a big change, especially for like the technology at the time. But yeah, we talked about this before. Like, we talked about Silent Line Armored Core. What made this one different from like all the other Armored Core games?
With Silent Line, Silent Line, much like with say Another Age for Armored Core 2, this was again another further evolution and a further expansion of the previous title. One of the big things about this was I believe this was actually the first game in the series that actually had the control option, the option for the controller layout that most FromSoft fans are now familiar with when playing Dark
Ooh,
Souls, Demons.
okay. Okay, so this was the first time they adapted the Dark Souls control scheme.
Yeah,
Okay, I did not know that. That's good.
but yeah, other than that, it's still followed up on the whole conspiracy between mega corporations storyline that the Armored Core series had become.
So nothing's changed. Got it.
So yeah, nothing's changed.
Conspiracy
It's iterating and improving on the previous game.
Right on. All right. Speaking of change and Capcom's venture to 3D, Street Fighter 4 came out in the arcades in 2008, and this was such a big deal at the time. And I know, like Nick is, he likes the FGC as much as I do, and this was a big jump because we all joke around. Street Fighter does not know how to count. We go from Street Fighter 2, Turbo, Championship Edition, and 3 with also the second Impact, third Strike, right? They got to do like all these iterations. But 4 was the jump from 2D to 3D and also the return of Street Fighter. They made a huge I guess like a time skip, and 3 wasn't like really recepted really well by the main audience. It was more for the hardcore fighting game players, right? 4 wanted to return the love for Street Fighter and kind of also push the narrative along, push the story along as well. So this was a big one. I know like arcades were packed with vanilla Street Fighter 4. People were waiting to play for this. Arcades were like profiting off this thing. I was reading some article about like how much money these arcades made. Like even though the arcades were super expensive at those sit down Japanese arcades for this, it made its money back like threefold in like quarters. This thing was big. So I for one didn't play this in the arcade. I played it. I think there was a Japanese arcade of this in GameWorks at the time in Seattle. And I was not very good at it. It was totally different. It felt 3D Street Fighter felt weird even after EX plus Alpha, right? But I guess like from a cultural standpoint or even just a gaming standpoint, what are you guys' thoughts on Street Fighter 4?
Seeing 4 as like Street Fighter's official first steps into the 3D, like it was pretty huge for me too. I think I remember playing it in the arcade. I think it might have actually been at the Seattle GameWorks only like once.
Mm-hmm.
But in 2009 when Street Fighter 4 finally hit the States, like it really blew up here as much as it did in Japan, which was honestly surprising.
Yeah, I mean this thing was like everybody was playing this. Like you could have been a fighting game player or not a fighting game player. This was also an impressive looking game at the time, right? Because the other 3D games that were out were like Tekken or Soul Calibur. There wasn't really a Street Fighter in pure 3D outside of EX. And EX, the graphics weren't as crisp as these. So this is the first time you're really seeing Street Fighter like in a 3D form naturally. Still plays like a 2D fighter, which is great, right? And that was the big concern when I first noticed the game. I was like, "Oh, is this gonna play like EX or is it like still feel 2D?" Yeah, and it felt like 2D. So I was a big fan. What about you, Nick?
Yeah, I remember when this came out. Just because I remember the lead up to it, there was discussion about how it was being developed to use 3D hitboxes, and like some of the early testing for it didn't pan out very well, and that's why they made this shift back to still having 3D models but on the 2D plane.
Yeah.
If I remember right, I had to look it up. Ono cited the arcade version of Arc System Works Battle Fantasia as the inspiration for the three-dimensional art style, and that kind of clicked for me when I read that because that's just on the wiki and you can find the citing there for it. But the fact that he said that if you've ever played Battle Fantasia, you can see the inspiration there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the thing that really like stood out for me with this, and why I think it did so well, was the style with like the focus attacks, like the kind of pause you get there, the kind of like almost ink mark behind it,
Yeah.
the kind
The
of
ukiyo-e.
strategy. Yeah, the kind of like strategy you'd have to have behind it. It gave it this kind of flash and substance to it, which was one of the reasons I loved Street Fighter 3 with like the parries. It kind of felt like you were building up for it. There's ways to like think around it. You have to pull it off the right way. Like it gave that visual style and feedback for people watching. So it was kind of hype to watch too, when people can pull it off, or when someone would be able to dodge it. Like,
Yeah.
it was that little cat and mouse kind of game with it. So yeah, it was just fun to watch. I think the only thing that soured it for me was like there were so many versions of this. You had this, you had Super, you had the arcade edition. Like it's like,
Ultra.
okay, guys, like
Yeah.
I have to keep rebuying the game on the 360. You know?
Yeah, and actually, one of the negatives I say for this game was the combo system for this game really dissuaded a lot of my friends from playing Street Fighter 4 or Street Fighter after this, because some of the combos were like frame perfect, and my friends didn't understand what frame perfect was.
Yeah.
I saw like this 4 really divided not the scene, but it divided like casual Street Fighter 4 players with like serious fighting game players, because some of the combo trials in this game were super difficult because they were frame perfect for like the buttons, and they were really frustrating. And if you didn't understand frame perfect, you'd be like, I don't get it, like what are you saying, and it's like part of the game feel. That's all I can say about that. But I do know a lot of my friends have given up playing Street Fighter ever since 4, just because of that gameplay style. They never got into 5, and they're definitely not into 6. So luckily 6, much more courteous with the combos, with the timings of combos, and more friendly. So I'm glad that they did that. And we're not even going to talk about 5. So let's move on from that. And then the other games that came out that as well, Willow came out on the Nintendo in 1989 in Japan. One of my favorite horizontal shooters, Aero Fighters 2, came out in the arcade in 1994. Not a horizontal shooter, Ape Escape 2 on the PS2 was released in 2002 in Japan, and the Nintendo World Championships NES edition came out on the Switch in 2024. That's a super fun one I'd like to play on stream. So, but yes, Street Fighter, thank you, welcome back. I started playing 6, and I love it. I'm already in platinum, not bad for an old guy that reflexes suck now. So, and I'm learning Marissa at the moment, and
Yes.
I want to brag a little bit. I bodied a jury player that was in platinum in casual mode, so he probably returned the game after that. So, but yeah, then I played some guy that was like in master, and I got totally wrecked. I was like, all right, this game sucks.
That's usually how it goes.
Yep, this game sucks. But
This game sucks.
Uninstall.
Uninstall.
Yeah, the funny part about Marissa is that I've been like, I'm all sweating playing Ryu. I'm like, oh my god, I'm old. Like just like this character model. And then I'm like trying all hard. I play Marissa, hit somebody 3 times, and they're like 2% health. I'm like, what the heck is this character, bro? She's so strong. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So another thing that I love is this funny little game here, The Legend of the Mystical Ninja. I think it's also called The Adventures of Goemon in Japan. For the Super Nintendo in 1991. Now, you guys are probably like, what is this game? But if you were like me in the 80s, you probably saw this box art instead. So let me pull this up. Because this is an iconic box art for me, because I was like, this is the scariest box art I've ever seen when I was a kid. It's so weird, but like I love it so much. This was the real box art, and I don't know, that person there is from the.
Oh my god, that's like some drugs, dude.
Right? I was like, what is this box art, bro? This is the actual box right here. Yeah, I was like, this is so cool and scary at the same time. Yeah, the Konami box arts were awesome back in the day. But yeah, I don't know if you guys played Legend of Mystical Ninja. It was a co-op action RPG right? Where you can go on this map, go back to the map once you've collected a certain item, so you can access different areas. So it's almost a Metroidvania. Your guy also levels up. It was super fun and full of character. Definitely Japanese inspired, right? So if you don't like that, probably won't like this. But it's got a lot of character, and the humor was spot on at the time. I'm playing it as an old man, and I'm like, I still get it. That's funny, like old man jokes, old man Japanese jokes. But have you guys played the OG Mystical Ninja, or did you guys play Goemon 64?
Oddly enough, I haven't played any of the Goemon games, largely because around that time, it was literally like a choice between Goemon and Pocky and Rocky.
See, and that's what I was going to say. I had Pocky and Rocky.
Nice.
That's what I played, and that's what this reminds me of.
Yeah. Actually, I'm re-looking at this now, and it reminds me of Friday the 13th, the old Nintendo Friday the 13th game. But yeah, Pocky and Rocky. I never thought of to combine those two together. But yeah, this is
it has that vibe, which is one of the reasons I love the reshrined gameplay for Pocky and Rocky, like the updated. It was one of those ones that just looks. What's that, Ace?
I still need to get Pocky and Rocky reshrined.
Dude, and it's so good too. Like
It's
I'm gonna
worth
pull
it,
the gameplay for it, but like the graphics on this still like keep that older style but updated that we were talking about recently. Like I loved this and the way it felt. And it really brought me back.
When I see this, I think of two video game companies. One of them is Kemco for some reason, and the other one is Atlas. Don't know why. It immediately goes to my brain.
I know why you would think Kemco. There's a lot of games that came out that's very similar.
Right? Yeah. That's what I'm saying. But Ace, I would argue this is like more like River City Ransom as far as gameplay goes, right? Because you go around this map and you can go back and forth, and you cross towns and stuff. Yeah, super fun little game. I wanted to feature it because. When was the last time we talked about Legend of Mystical Ninja? Never. So. Another game that we don't really talk about was Bonk's Revenge on the TurboGrafx 16 in 1991. When are they going to bring that back? And who owns Bonk anymore? Konami? Hudson Soft? Like, come on. Who owns Bonk? Bring him back. And Zonk. I like Zonk also.
Bonk and Zonk.
Bonk and Zonk, yeah. Zonk is a futuristic version.
So if you look at the OG developers for Bonk, just on the topic, it was Red Entertainment and Atlas.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I don't know who owns the rights to it nowadays, but they were part of the original development team, because there was 4 teams involved, but I recognize Atlas and Factor 5 for that matter. But the publishers, depending where, like in North America, it was NEC.
Okay, that makes sense.
For Japan, it was Hudson Soft, who we're all familiar with.
That's why I said that. Yep.
And then the EU, it was Ubisoft.
Oh my god! Yeah. I never knew that. Yeah. Wow, that's some good info there. Actually, this game here was actually quite fun. Have you guys played the Little Mermaid on a Nintendo?
Oh yeah,
that was a really fun one.
I got that game for my wife to play because she's such a Disney kid. So when I still had my original NES, I bought that for her so she could play it. Same as I tortured her with the Aladdin game and the Lion King game on SNES.
Oh no! Why?
You just gotta play it. You gotta understand where it's coming from.
If you want a fun little game like Little Mermaid, check out Little Nemo the Dream Master. That's a really fun one for the Nintendo. If you can find it, you're like a kid that's wearing pajamas. And you throw candy at these animals, and you can eventually turn into them. Weird, right? So whatever. Speaking of weird, Star Ocean also came out in Super Nintendo in Japan, along with Final Fantasy X on the PS2 in 2001. Surprised nobody checked that one out. That's a pretty popular one. Super Mario Sunshine on the GameCube in 2002. I just randomly snuck this in there because it's a pretty fun game in my opinion. Captain America Super Soldier came out on everything because that's when Captain America the First Avenger came out. That was the game. And Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order came out on the Switch in 2019, along with Stray, the kitty cat game on the PC, PS4, PS5 in 2022. So yes, guys, that's it for this week. in gaming history.
So, on the subject of Bonk, doing a little bit of digging, the last game that was published for Bonk was the collection on the GameCube, and it was published by Hudson Soft. So Hudson had the rights for it up until then, but the company was sold and officially merged with Konami and
Okay,
ceased to exist in like 2012.
Bro, I didn't know there
So
was a.
Konami might have it. It doesn't. I couldn't see anything as far as like IP transfer. So Konami might just own the rights for
They
that.
just have it in their vault.
Yeah.
No, okay. If I would have known there was a Bonk collection on the GameCube, I would have got it, but it was only for Japan. Okay, that's why I didn't see.
Yeah.
But I like Bonk. I mean, he reminds me of Joe and Mac a little bit, but much more balder. But yes, moving on to our next segment here, the tick. Of course, we're gonna go back to Fight Forever with Ace.
Well, Ace. Sorry, talked right over the intro.
Oh, okay.
That's my fault. While Ace is doing that, I'm going to run the bathroom.
Please do. All right, Ace.
Let's go.
All right. So I'm going to try and make this quick because we are coming up on 9:30 and we still got plenty to cover. So, well, thankfully, we don't have to worry about necessarily going over the base mechanics here because we already covered the 1.0 portion of the course back with Hagar last week. But this week, we're going to be covering whom I referred to earlier as the Adam of Final Fight. Because, as y'all know, technically player 2 in Final Fight was Cody. And he literally was not seen in anything after the first game until Final Fight Streetwise.
Sad. Was he in jail?
Yep.
I don't know if you guys knew that, but in Alpha, they hinted that he was so bored after defeating the Mad Gear gang, he was just starting fights all around Metro City, and that's why he was in jail in Street Fighter Alpha 3. Or prison, I don't know.
We did mention Final Fight Streetwise, so
let's go.
I gotta bust out the
hold on.
Orange.
This sprite looks familiar. Hold on a second. This is like half Super Nintendo Cody and half like Axel from Streets of Rage. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of cool, actually.
But as you could probably imagine, compared to Hagar, Cody's a little bit faster. So he's also got longer combo strings. But if you remember in the classic Final Fight games, Cody had, the combo, the jab, jab, hook, upper, right?
Nope, that's it right there.
But of course, since this fan project also incorporates, other attack styles, they had to do some work to give Cody a few additional moves.
Yeah, more kicks. Let's go.
And of course, those additional moves also included.
Those are his alpha moves. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, his specials are a unique blend of, well, it's hard to describe the lineup of specials that they actually gave Cody in this one. Because it's definitely a lot more, I guess, a lot more MMA style. And I'll show you what I mean. So, your quarter circle forward special is a set of kicks. Kind of like how you have his ruffian kick in Street Fighter Alpha, where it's either the slide, the straight kick, or the high kick. And of course, there's different variations depending on whether you use light attack, heavy attack.
Bro, those are Law's moves.
Or special.
From Tekken. Pretty cool.
But yeah, Cody is a much more fluid fighter. Now, aside from that, for his anti-air, he's actually got the uppercut. Or
Does,
if you want to meter burn it, him. Wasn't trying to meter burn that one. There we go.
Nice. Look at the Dudley uppercut.
Yep.
Does he have moves from Streetwise? I've never played Streetwise, but does he have moves from Streetwise?
Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if there were some of his Streetwise moveset incorporated into this. But he also, as you can see, he also has a flying knee maneuver. Kind of reminiscent of how Killer Instinct on the Xbox One started incorporating more MMA moves into TJ Combo's moveset.
Gotcha.
Which also includes for Cody.
Yo, what?
Yeah, you're seeing this right. So Cody,
Nick, I don't know if you were ever watched the beat 'em up episode that we had. We talked about what's the next step for beat 'em ups, and this game popped up in our conversation.
Yep. But and off of that command movement, which is quarter circle forward with jump, he's actually got follow-ups to that, which somewhat reminiscent of his specials from Alpha.
Just keep going. That's crazy.
But of course, no character demonstration is complete without the supers.
Oh, he's just Dudley. He's just Dudley, bro. He's just Dudley.
Excellent.
It's like, yeah, he's got the corkscrew glove.
Hey, how come I don't have insults from Dudley soundboards? What is it?
Why not? How come?
Yeah, I gotta fix that.
Probably didn't look him up yet.
Gutter trash. Yeah, trash.
Here's his level 3. You wonder why Cody got put in jail?
Assault. Yeah, that was angry.
That's why Cody got put in jail. But also, hang on. Because Cody actually has.
That's stupid.
Yeah, he has a super variant of that crap too. But
he's punching him in the air as they get to the ground. They just continues punching him.
He's already dead.
Hyper.
It's like, stop, Cody. He's already dead. He ain't dead till I says he's dead. Damn it. So we'll just beat him up again. But yeah, for the folks that decide to go ahead and download Fight Forever, well, go ahead and give Cody a try in the training mode before you take him into the actual game. And if you have memories of using him in the original Final Fight, this is definitely a fresher take on him. It's great, greatly expanded. Again, we've got different moves from Final Fight Streetwise, a couple of callbacks to Street Fighter Alpha, plenty of callbacks to Dudley.
Right on.
And he plays, aside from that, he plays pretty much like he does in the classic Final Fight. A a great sort of all rounder. Moderate speed, good combo capability. Definitely, definitely a lot better when it comes to like picking up certain weapons in the game as well. So yeah, once again, give them a shot. Give the game a try. Support the developer, and I'm looking forward to further demos, or hopefully seeing this completed at some point so we can play it all the way through with the entire roster he's got planned. But that's another story. That's another lesson for another week. That's been the tech. That was Cody. I was Fight Forever.
Get fighting forever. Yeah, it's actually like, is this 3 players or 2 players?
3-player.
Yeah, I just imagine like 100 hit combos with this thing. So, like, hey,
Yeah. Looking up some of the videos from like some of the others that have downloaded this, and some of the developer, some of the videos that the dev put up as far as just the different combos he was able to pull off.
Mm-hmm.
It's nuts. All
right, homework, guys. Go download Fight Forever, support it, play it, and come back with a full report if you guys like it or not. The dev would love that, and if you want to see more fan makes, the more downloads and more support will push people to make more content. So check it out. Check it out. All right. Well, that is the tech. All right. So the roundtable has been kind of a new segment here on the Gaming Academy, and kind of wanted to cover a specific topic that's been kind of floating. I saw an article that inspired this. I can pull up that article, but the question for tonight is for the roundtable. All right.
Perfect.
That's kind of quiet, but are video game remakes helping or hurting the industry? So chat, chime in, please. Tell us what you think about this, because from the last few, one of the biggest remakes that we've had was Final Fantasy VII Remake, Resident Evil 4 Remake, Resident Evil 2 Remake. We're seeing more remakes than ever. Now, the question is, are these revitalizing classics for new audiences and preserving gaming history, or are they stalling original creativity and relying on nostalgia too much? So, I'd like to hear from the panel. Here's a couple of questions to think about. Do remakes set new standards or just cash in? What makes a good remake versus a lazy remaster? Because I know there's some. And which games should have never been remade? So think about that. I'd love to hear from you guys.
Well, I don't know if you're going to jump in, because I dislike that this question is being asked this way. Because my short answer is yes, as a whole. And it's not to split hairs. I think it's both helping and hurting the industry, and it really comes down to quality. Because the biggest thing we've seen is a couple that you mentioned. So Final Fantasy VII Remake definitely helped. That's going back, remaking, revisiting, improving on these systems. Not changing the original game, but just obviously improving it, modernizing it, and taps into that nostalgia a little bit, but grows from it. Then you have the other end of the spectrum for me, which is like Warcraft 3 Reforged, which was like a lazy remake pushed out that was clearly a cash grab. So you can say both exist, they help and hurt. I do think absolutely, like, introducing to new audiences are great. You can absolutely introduce these like classic games and these classic worlds to people, modernize the gameplay and the visuals for it, and that kind of provides a little bit of that preservation of just like these series that were so near and dear, if it's done right. But the problem is they're not all done right, and the bad actors are making us realize that sometimes people are just cashing in and companies are just cashing in, and that is hurting the industry. Actually, I'm sure we'll talk about it more, but Ace, just to jump in, that's where I was when I saw this question.
No, actually, I'm glad you said what you did, because I feel like that encapsulates the nuance of this topic, because it's remakes. I really don't feel like there's just that dichotomy. It's not like it's two sides of the same coin. It's a spectrum. because you've got games like, I mean, hell, honestly, I could say that in my personal opinion, Final Fantasy VII Remake is, it fills that spectrum to both ends, because it's like you've got the original, you've got Final Fantasy VII Remake that has modernized the game for a new audience. Brings the story and the characters back to, back to the forefront of the RPG zeitgeist. The gameplay itself is unique. It's something that still, that still takes portions of what people remember from the ATB system of the original game. But then at the same time, and again, this might be something of a hot take, but I personally feel like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I feel like that right there is, I mean, just knowing that the remake for 7 is going to be split into 3 different games already kind of had me on guard. But then seeing how it feels like they went overboard with how they tried to further embellish on everything and further embellish on that specific part of the story in Final Fantasy VII in Rebirth. It was more the gameplay than anything, that just felt bloated, like it was padding. It felt more like a Ubisoft game with a Final Fantasy VII skin.
Yeah, you said it correct. There's a spectrum to this, and I think the largest reason why this is so hotly debated, and again why I had such a knee-jerk reaction when I saw this original question, which great for asking, absolutely not saying anything against that, is the fact that having a nuanced conversation with a lot of people in this kind of like fandom or general fandom of gaming doesn't always happen. Like having a nuanced discussion about this and understanding there's levels to all of this. Because there really are moments where it does seem like a cash grab. It does seem like, hey, instead of getting this new game or new IP, we're getting another remake. I know I've certainly felt frustrated about that too. Like, it doesn't feel like there's any new things, but it's how it's handled. Sometimes going back to these things are great new releases. A really good example is the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1, 2, and 3, 4. Great remix. They kept the original songs, updated the graphics and the gameplay. It kept the classic feel, but updated them for a modern audience. I don't feel that was a cash grab. It would have been a cash grab if it came out much sooner. Like Tony Hawk himself said, he had to work to get these done. Like, it took time, effort, and you can see that. And then like the flip side of that conversation is something like the Grand Theft Auto trilogy, the definitive edition thing that came out. Like, bad performance, bugs, outdated visuals, like that felt like a cash grab kind of thing. Or more modern example, look at Horizon Zero Dawn. They're already doing a remake, remaster of that. And it's like, that seems like a little too soon to like cash in on it. Like, come on,
how the hell are you going to remake or remaster a game that just barely came out 1 year back?
Well, the trickier thing is too is that game has a PS5 update patch for it already. Like, what new HD remaster are you going to do for that that's going to improve on the visual kind of thing? So I can understand why people would feel like this is just a cash grab. Publishers don't care, is when we're getting headlines like that, or we're seeing the worst of the worst of these remakes, right? Like the 13 remake. Remember that remaster remake of the 13 game, that cell shaded?
Yeah, it was terrible.
Game, terrible, absolutely terrible. But then you get the flip side, like Resident Evil 2.
Going back on that though, Nick, do you think the 13 game? I mean, clearly they were trying to make money off it. All these games are trying to make money, but does that come down to like just lack of talent, or like just like we don't want to put that many resources into this game? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because that's a cash grab. If it's like, I just want to throw a game out there, but this is our budget, that's it. Or like if it's if it was done awesome, right, with a bigger budget or whatever, then it's not a cash grab, right?
So what you just said is the primary thing is budget. Yeah. So these publishers, the budget they put into it or the timelines they put into it are really kind of the determining factor about whether or not we could say, does it have passion behind it, or is it just a cash grab?
Yeah.
So something like the 13, you look at the development cycle, you look at the money. Yeah, that was just a cash grab. Like
Yeah.
remasters were a thing. That thing was pushed out. But then you have something like, again, Tony Hawk was just the time, effort. You can tell the love was put into it to bring it forward. That's different. We've had this conversation. Like Jagos has said it as well multiple times in chat and previous podcasts that we've done. But budgets and publishers and kind of like handling those things, that is incredibly nuanced in its own right, and it's really hard to nail down like what is a good, what is a bad. This is a really prime example, but everyone right now just shitting on Unreal 5 engine. Unreal is a tool. There's a lot of bad games coming out of it because some people are just using the tool. They're not understanding the tool or building with the tool. They're just pushing stuff out. So it's shading and everyone thinks like, oh, this is a bad thing. It's not that. It's a tool. There are bad users out there. And the same can be said for a lot of these kind of remakes and remasters too. If you don't put in the time and effort, you don't put the resources behind it, that's the risk aversion we were talking about before, right? With publishers. So they're going to look at this and be like, I don't want to put a bunch of money into this. Something like 13 was kind of a cult hit. Do they really think they were going to make gangbusters on it? No. But you can asset flip. You can push it out quickly. You can make some money off it.
So more often than not, it seems more like it's, whether or not there's, time and passion and budget put behind a remake or remaster project. Like, a couple of examples I could think of right off the bat: Super Mario RPG, Suikoden, and Star Ocean: The Second Story Arc. 3 excellent remakes that did exactly what you mentioned, Nick. Took exactly what you mentioned with Tony Hawk. They took the core game, kept the skeleton, kept the foundation, but used modern tech to revitalize the systems, revitalize the mechanics, and give it a new lease on life while still keeping what fundamentally made the game so beloved and bringing that forward for a new generation. Or there's stuff like, Warcraft Reforged, 13, stuff that's basically, stuff that could be pushed out, but still capitalize on an old IP. So effectively turning older beloved IPs into shovelware.
Yeah. That's how it's two sides of the same coin for the Warcraft 3, like the Warcraft updates, the HD updates, and then with Reforged, obviously. Like, I loved playing Warcraft 1 and 2, like, remasters. That's not a remake, but a remaster, but getting Reforged, and the fact that if you bought that game, it would literally make it so you couldn't play your original versions of Warcraft 3 and Frozen Throne, like, locked you out of it, and you got a worse product out of it. Like, oof, dude. Big F.
That's a crazy game for sure.
It's from a company like Blizzard, and that's a good example of just like you would expect something more from that publisher, but they gave it to another team. They offshored it, and it was like short timeline, quick, turnaround kind of thing. You can tell the love wasn't put into it, kind of thing. Maybe the intentions when they started were like, oh man, Warcraft 3, it was like huge. We haven't done Warcraft 4. We're not really doing RTSs anymore. Let's remaster that. That is a good thought, but then the actions, the way that it was actioned, the way that it was brought forward, and the way they went about budgeting and completing that, there's your mistake, kind of thing. So good intentions, and like James said, we have a couple other questions here. One of them being, which game should never be remade, which one shouldn't. It's a thought process. Like, I would absolutely do Warcraft 3 in there as a should, especially after what we got with Reforged.
Yeah, like one of I'm actually torn on that question. Like, for example, I actually thought Diablo 2 Remastered was really good, right? Like, it updated the same game, but here's the other problem to that. The flip side, it was still the same game, so it was just pretty. And I myself tried it, and I was like, okay, I remember how fun this game. And I realized how much far we've gotten from UI and quality of life, just small things in gameplay that made push things along faster, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I never really noticed until like years later, you know. But at the time, I was having fun. But to me, a pretty game is just not going to be enough. You know, it has to be somewhat different. And
Right.
you know,
And that one was like it was built on the bones, and it was really
yeah,
it was that kind of thing where it was really cool, like playing the Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary when that came out, or the Fable Anniversary. Like it's the
mhm,
same game with visual updates, and it was cool to hit the button to like look at the old style for a
yep,
little bit, right? And I
yep,
did that with the Diablo 2 one too. It's like, yeah, this is cool. It's the same game. That's
mhm.
when it comes down to it. Did I pay a price that's worth it for me to relive this nostalgia? And I think what was that when it was that 40
It
when
was it was
two
full. It was full price.
was it full? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's why. Hello. Yeah. From what I recall, I mean, here's a game that does not need to be remade again. Is The Last of Us? Because how many
Don't
remasters?
Lion King the baby onto the screen.
You know, how many remasters and remakes do we have of Last of Us? Now they just released the remaster of
The
2.
chronological
Yeah,
order one.
yeah, and I was like, come on, man! Like, this is a remaster of a remaster. That was a remaster. Like, relax. Like, we get it. You know, like how
Yeah.
many times do I need to buy this game? No, we're earlier you were saying like I had to buy Street Fighter like 4 times, you know, because of like the different levels, you know, super and all that. But man, now they're not even adding stuff to it. They're just making it look pretty. So it's like, could this just be a patch? You know, like you know what I'm saying? Like they need
Yeah, I
need a
think
remaster.
that's a really good example of what we were just talking about. Like, is the
Yeah,
price worth this product that I'm getting? And more often than not, especially with The Last of Us releases, it's like not really. Like, it's kind
yeah,
of a cool thing if it was like an add-on or something like that, but of like a full price title or something that is
Exactly.
like a half
This
price.
could have
It's
been
like
an email remake.
right,
yeah.
yeah,
For
the
sure.
email remake.
Email remake.
Oh
The
man,
one that really came to mind that was really big to me that really spawned this conversation was RE2 was awesome. The remake of RE2 was fantastic, and then 3 came out. We're like, this is cool. Then you play, it, and you're like, wait a minute, it was off. Like, as in, like they just made this from the bones of 2 to just to like capitalize the trend of RE2 remake. So they just made 3 right after that. Is it? I think Jago said it came out like a year within a year or something like that. It was super quick, and to me, that was my cash grab. Capcom going, 2 sold so well. Let's just make 3 real fast. We already have the assets, you know. And that's kind of how I felt like the gameplay difference because people celebrate 2, 3 not so much on the remake. So that's kind of how I felt like about the one was a cash grab, one wasn't, but it was still both. They were equivalently the same like level of like you know detail and design, but 3 just felt like it needed one more year to bake to cook. You know. Yeah, Andre's
agreed.
saying 3 had a rough development. I you know I can't speak much of it, but I know the reviewers felt this way, and it echoes a lot in my social circles that 3 was like it didn't need to happen, or it was it just needed more time to cook, you know. But it could have been
Yeah.
good. So
Well, it gets tricky too because there's so much conversation about remake versus remaster. So when we're talking about remake, like it could be something small. Like I remember the Ocarina of Time on the 3DS. That's technically a remake. The way they change things around, it may be like, kind of still feeling like the original game, and so much of the original game is there. But they added a bunch of things, like adding the ability to choose the time of day by hour you can go to Majora's Mask. Huge difference versus like going for the day. You're in the morning, play a song. You're in the afternoon. You have to like keep playing with time like that.
mhm.
Like that was like a really cool update to that to like really make it easier to find things to get to things. Like that is a remake. It's not a remaster.
Yeah, I guess we also got to understand the expectation of what equates to a remake versus because to me a remaster is increasing the fidelity of said game, right? Upgrading the graphics, but nothing changes. It's you're remastering it. But if we have to kind of like go into the detail of like what's the definition of remaster versus remake, then that's probably a better way to converse about that.
And also just like it's really interesting to think having we've been fans of gaming for a long
Yeah,
time, right? Like it's really interesting to like realize it's because of retro gaming becoming a thing again that this it's back in the zeitgeist of gaming and why we keep revisiting this nostalgia. Like back in the day there wasn't a lot of that, really happening. It was sequels, we move on, new ideas kind of thing, but now it's a lot of just like companies and publishers are looking at these titles and be like, it's sold this much in the past, there's still this many people playing or talking about it. They know there's money there. That's why they go to it. It is a business, right? And we've said that multiple times before. So it's a consideration we have to have. Like, we take part in this. It is a business. We're going to get some remakes. We're going to get some remasters. But as fans, we vote with our wallet as well. So we can get these good remakes, say they're awesome, put money behind it. That's just going to spur them on to do more of it. Or the bad ones will come out, look at lambasted, like we're forged, you know, and we'll move on from that.
GTA collection, yeah.
Oh God, man, that I just still the fact that I said it and didn't like throw up a little bit in my mouth.
I was actually going to be a Haze remake.
I was actually this is a bro. Stop! Don't be throwing those words around here. Haze remake. Get out of here! You're fired. You know, it's funny. That's what I would do. I was going to bring it up. Do you consider the Legendary Edition?
You got quiet there. What was that?
The Legendary Edition of Mass Effect. Is that a remake or a remaster?
That's a remaster. It's not a remaster.
Remaster.
Yeah,
but
a remaster. It's updating the fidelity and it's adding all the DLC. It's a collector's edition.
Is it? You said there was like difference in the leveling and stuff like that.
So all they did was add the Legendary Edition version where they just made it so you can, instead of having to play a second time, they just uncap certain aspects where you can just play through. So what I mentioned was you'd have to play Mass Effect a second time to get like the guns up to 10 and 11 level.
Gotcha.
You get the whatever.
Because it caps out at the first play.
Yeah. Sometimes if you did like completions all the way through, you get pretty high, like 6, 7, I want to say. But then you'd go through, play again, and you'd unlock the later things, and you have some more skills, that kind of thing. So Legendary Edition just made it so you didn't have to play it twice to get to the next game. I wouldn't call that a remake. That's just hey, we tweaked it for quality of life.
Yeah. Okay. Understandable. Yeah. No, it's great, guys. I actually on stream when I was playing it, I'm only like 6 hours in. I'm like, I would freaking love a Legendary Edition of Dragon Age. That's like on my top of my list now. Just the way the treatment got, the Mass Effect treatment they got with the Legendary Edition, I would love to see that Dragon Age. Love to see that Dragon Age. So,
just not including Veilguard.
You know, it has to be a trilogy. It can't be 4. But yeah, a man can dream. Yeah. All right, we'll move on to the next one here. I know.
Before we get there, though, I did want to ask, just because you brought it up, you mentioned which games should never be remade. Do you have any that you would love to see remade that we haven't talked about?
Yeah, easily. And it's in chat right now. Jagos just said it. Jade Empire.
A remake of Jade Empire?
That's a big one. Playing Mass Effect for the first time and me remembering my memories of Dragon Age, it's really like fired me up to play to get more BioWare games. Like that new KOTOR game, I'm looking forward to that. I've never played KOTOR before, right? But like the fact that yeah, I know, calm down.
God, man, it took me forever just for Mass Effect, and now I know you didn't play KOTOR either.
The new one's coming out.
Chat. Oh my gosh.
I was on chat. I was in chat
right now. I would love to see remade. I got to take it back to the early 2000s Capcom era. I could
Chaos Legion.
Right off the bat. One being Chaos Legion.
Yeah.
Also, Chaos Legion.
That's him, officer. He did it.
The second one, God Hand.
Okay. You know what's cool about that is I feel like God Hand can get away with a sequel and be like, oh yeah, this is God Hand 2, and modernize it a little bit. I feel like you can get God Arms. Right.
So there's a couple that leap out to me. There's one that I know I played, and the others that I know are significant in the industry that I think would have legs. And one of them is Symphony of the Night, getting a remake of that. Like, imagine the style updated after the Castlevania animated series have done so well. Like, imagine that updated, done well for modern audiences, because that is still like mythical, and that's kind of like saying like, oh, they should remake, or bring out Half-Life 3. Like, there's a lot of weight behind that. I understand it, but it's like the conversation we had before about Chrono Trigger, like Chrono Trigger needing a remake. Like, Symphony of the Night should have one, but for me, what we were just talking about with KOTOR 2 needs a remake. because they need to right the wrongs of that game and the way that it ended. That's just my take, though, because I already got Yakuza 1 and 2. I got the Kiwami remake. Like, I'm set, and they don't need to remake 0. Like 0 is still amazing, and I know my boy Andre's thinking that. But yeah, KOTOR 2 like needs that remake love for me. That's just what popped into my head.
Yeah, you know what's crazy is that like, you guys know there's a Star Wars Hope game coming out, right?
Star Wars what?
Hope.
Yeah.
People not remember that trailer that we saw? Super epic. All right, well, we'll get to that here in a second. But
I just remember Eclipse, and I really want Eclipse to be a thing.
It could have been Eclipse. I don't know. Maybe I was like, I hope it's good. It's like all that Star Wars.
I'm sure it's in development hell and it'll never come out. And it's
but
it looks cool with the trailer.
So I was thinking that was going to be like the sequel to KOTOR. But we'll go on from there. Well, Nick, I know you haven't been playing much because you've been playing busy, responsible parent.
I've been playing the game of life, my friend. I actually hopped into, thanks to Lord Gaben and his deals, I finally bought Phantom Liberty, so I've been jumping back into Cyberpunk to play Phantom Liberty because I do love that game, and I've been wanting it for a while, and it finally just got to the price point, and I'm like, yeah, I don't have a ton of money, but I want to pull the trigger. And I don't have a ton of money because I had to upgrade my graphics card, partially for work, but partially for gaming. So being able to pop that onto ray tracing and experience that again, that's what I've been playing lately.
Ooh-wee. That's a good one. That's a lot of value in that game for sure.
Yeah.
Ace, you still I'm assuming you finished all the content for Wilds. There was not a lot.
Yeah, I finished all the recent stuff that was added to Monster Hunter Wilds. So I've been.
They already got your money. They don't care.
But hey, I made hats out of the 2 new monsters, so I'm good.
Yeah, I made my hats. Good.
Right? Yeah. But I've also been getting back into. Well, you know how I tend to use games like Hades and Warriors Abyss as like my comfort drop in, drop out games. Just get in a good couple runs on a a nice fast paced roguelike, and then I'm done for the evening. Mm-hmm. Lately, I have actually been getting back into playing LC.
Okay, right on. What kind of sparked that?
Just remembering that the music in the game is absolutely fucking fire. Yeah. But best way I can describe it, roguelike Mega Man X.
Sounds pretty cool to me.
There you go.
I have gifted it to you.
You were saying remaking Symphony of the Night, and have you ever played Bloodstained?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
That's a successor. I'm talking about like go back to the source.
Yeah, and I was thinking like, how would you want that made? Like Bloodstained or like high res 2D pixels?
I didn't play the heck out of that. That's just something that popped into my head. That if you're talking about like all the new like return of Castlevania to the forefront of our minds and stuff, and the success of things like Bloodstained and Vampire Survivors, like there's still tons of interest in Castlevania and Symphony of the Night. It's still kind of like that mythical status. So I just brought up as just imagine a remake of that, but updated, like what you could do with it. And the vibes could be immaculate, or they could be reforged. So it could go either way, which is the conversation we had today, which is why appreciate you chatting about it as well. Like, yeah.
Well, it's up to Konami, right? Right now they're the remaster king in their library.
And to Jagos' point here, talking about some of the stuff like you would hate to see remastered. There's plenty of those titles. I just don't think need to come back. There's a reason a lot of this stuff is vaulted. They don't seem financially viable, or the nostalgia glasses were real, and if they dusted it off, which some of these pitches we keep hearing about unnamed projects that were canceled, they could have been remastered or remake like pitches that have failed. Like sometimes that's not talked about. It's not always new IPs.
Yeah, they can only make so many sequels too. Like one of the issues of making another Devil May Cry is writing. Like, how do you make these two characters not like godlike? They're already too strong for how they are. So like that's one of the challenges of making another Devil May Cry, right? So that's the very interesting point.
You make it a dating simulator. He has to fight off goth baddies.
They'll do it. Yeah, I mean, if we have anime horse girl racing, we can have that.
Yeah, if we have that, and we have a dating game where you can date birds, like
exactly.
Come on, we can have Devil May Cry the dating game.
Are you telling me the cutoff is a demon hunter like dating simulator? You're not gonna make that, you know?
Don't see, and some people in chat are saying something like, you're not completely against it, are you? You're thinking
Yeah,
about it
exactly. You're
now.
like, tell me more. Tell me more. Ace is right. I've been playing Hades. I kind of put a pause on it because I want to get back to Mass Effect. I kind of felt like playing a space opera, right? So back on that. I just started playing Mecha Break. Game is sick. If you want to feel like you're piloting a Gundam, it feels good. It's free. And without the stress of Armored Core, having to like worry about weight and like the heaviness of your mech and all that stuff. There's just a
Always remember the
variety.
heaviness of your character's sliders in the character.
Yeah,
I found out the wrong way.
super fun game. But when I'm playing, there's like there's different modes like capture the point, stuff like this. Match
Like the way they have the variety of the suits set up in Mecha Break, it actually reminds me of Exo Primal.
Yeah, that's too.
Yeah.
That too. Yeah, the design look too. I started playing it with Vistral actually, and we were having fun with some team deathmatch. The Fortnite mode is pretty cool, like the extraction mode where there's like 3 groups of 3 that come in and they go through the map and extract as much supplies as they can, which is like your in-game content, which is super cool. And if you make it out, you get to have it for free, so which is nice. Which could be like cosmetics and stuff like that, mods for your mech. But if you die, you lose all of it. So it's that kind of how it works. So that's a really fun one. And the other big thing that I started playing on my list is Street Fighter 6. I finally opened up my Mad Gear box, and I think Andre Jagos was there when I was starting to play it. So I sent you guys those images on X that I got to, when you do your placement matches, right? I got into platinum, like 4-star platinum.
Mhm.
And I'm just learning a new character. I just did it with Ryu, something I'm familiar with. But it's like learning a new game. Like I've been playing Tekken for a long time, and then taking a break from that. But Street Fighter 6, coming back into it like raw. Oof, man, I'll tell you right now, I cannot see a drive impact from a neutral stance. I'm just like deer in headlights. Like, come on, I could have blocked that. Like I can't. I'm just too old. But it's fun to realize how old I am playing. I'm excited to get back into it. But yeah, that is what now I'm playing. That's about it. So here we go. Nice. All right, for the last segment of the night, of course, we're gonna go to your favorite, my favorite. I don't know about your favorite, the final boss. So, yeah, if it's your first time here for the final boss, I always say on the chat, I'd like to give back to the community, and I like to kind of give a little bit of motivational, inspirational words to those that spend their 2 hours with us, and this is the segment of the final boss. So. Let's get
Now I'm motivated.
Thanks, Virgil. I'm glad you said that because in games, we all know side quests. Those are random errands that distract you from the main storyline. You either help a farmer, find his lost chicken, deliver a mysterious letter to a town you've never been to, or hunt that optional boss in the corner of the map. Those are the side quests of the games that we play, but those are sometimes where the real story happens. So tonight, I want to talk about something that every RPG veteran understands, but sometimes we forget in real life. Side quests, right? In every game, there's that big epic main quest: defeat the Demon King, save the universe, stop the ancient evil. But scattered everywhere to those little side quests that seem optimal or optional, sometimes even silly. But here's the thing: side quests shape your journey. They're where you meet your weirdest characters, find unexpected rewards, and sometimes uncover deeper truths about the world you're exploring. That cave with the secret sword, that mysterious old man who teaches you a new move, you only find those if you step off the main path. Life works exactly the same way. Now, we get so focused on the main quest, career milestone, big life goals, chasing the next big win, that we forget the value of detours. The dinner with an old friend, the random hobby you tried and fell in love with, the late night chat that turned into a life-changing moment, or making a silly podcast with your friends, trying to forget your real job. Those are the side quests that might not be in the original plan, but they're where the real growth happens. Now they make you stronger, more interesting, and more connected. So here's your final boss chapter or final boss reminder for the night. Don't skip the side quests because at the end of your journey, it won't be just the big bosses you remember. It'll be the small adventures that gave your story heart. Now, go do the weird side quest, talk to the NPC, pick up that random side job, or start that hobby you've been putting off. You might just find the best loot of your life waiting for you off the beaten path. Just like what I did with this podcast. And this is why this is the best side quest I've ever been on with my friends. So that's your final boss message for tonight, guys. And I would like to ask you guys, what's the side quest you took in your life that ended up changing you the most? Or what hobby, friend, or unexpected choice ended up being more meaningful to you than your main plan? So, very topical because this is literally my side quest, this podcast. So, I'd like to hear from the panel.
Honestly, just content creation on YouTube in general, like literally just deciding that I wanted to sit down and start, playing and reviewing games and making videos for it. Yeah, that right there was my side quest. I mean, at the time, I was just focused on and pretty happy with the two jobs that I had at the time. I was working at the movie theater and I was working at the arcade. Both jobs where I got to see a little bit behind the veil of industries and hobbies that I was really into. But then, I sat down. I was watching, I think it was Angry Video Gamer. Yeah, I was watching Angry Video Gamer and Happy Console Gamer. And I just hit that point where it's like, I like talking about games with people. I like playing games and streaming and, doing videos just seems like another way to hang out with people while I do what I enjoy. So why not put 2 and 2 together? Next thing I know, the Hooligans, the Backlog, the Metro City Boys, and now I'm in college.
Hey, congrats, man.
Academy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's right. Street Fighter 3 announcer. But you, Nikolai?
Oh man, my side quest watching Uma Musume the anime, that banger of a anime, jokes aside, it is amazing.
But what is it called?
And I don't know why. It's the Uma Musume. It's the horse girl. They did an anime series that is
There's an anime of that?
Yes, it is amazing. It's one of the best sports
surprised.
animes you will watch.
I'm not surprised.
That, like, the joking aside, it's tough for me to say because a lot of mine were like main quest stuff, right?
Yeah.
Big things, like big shifts that changed. But for me, if I had to talk about like a side quest, probably doing the Retroid nights with my friends. For those that don't know, it was a night event we used to run with some friends, some of them working at the local retro store, where we'd host like tournaments and giveaways and stuff at a nightclub bar in town. We get together. I'd bring a bunch of my consoles, my retro consoles at home. We'd set up tournaments. We'd just have games on and sharing that nostalgia with people. The reason I bring it up is because it forced me to get out of my comfort zone a little and be in front of more people running events instead of just being involved on the back end. And that helped me in the long run because it gave me connections, a sense of confidence, and eventually pushed me towards more of an event side thing, which I always loved, but being more directly involved and present helped me get a job in the industry and helped me continue to be involved with just different events, even if it's not gaming related. So that's just something I just took on the side. We did, one Saturday a month to begin with, as a way just to share with other people, but it spiraled and it did great while we had it.
Yeah. Oddly enough, I remember going to one of the Retroid events.
Yeah.
And that
there's still people that recognize me as the GameStop guy or the Retroid guy, in town. I moved out of town, I came back, and people still kind of remember. It wasn't anything super crazy. I'm not trying to build it up, but it's just to say, with this prompt, it was a side passion. There was a side quest that ended up giving me skills in my actual career as well, just because I took a chance on it.
Yeah.
And
It's good.
personally, I like, as a bit of a thank you, Nick, that like the Retroid event that I went to, I feel like that right there was actually where James and I had kind of strengthened our friendship, because that was the event where you and I were playing Marvel 2,
I
and
remember that. Yeah.
I showed you what I could do with Cammy.
Oh yeah, because Cammy was my third character, I think, from what I
Mhm.
remember.
But like it was after that where we just started we started talking more and more, especially like really really talking games more. And then as James started coming into Tilt, it was it was just a lot easier to actually chill and hang out with him, because we'd already started forging that connection. So
Yeah, it was cool to see people like that. Was still, I wouldn't say like the early years, but it's definitely like the budding years of like the local FGC community. They'd show up to like Retroid events, but they'd start interacting more with like the broader gaming interest, and people that weren't super into gaming would show up and then play those games and make some friendships out of it. There's some people I know that are friends that met at a Retroid. It's kind of cool. It's just something, like we all just took a random chance on it. It's not always going to work out, but the fact that you tried, yeah, man, you never know what kind of stuff can come out of it. Like I said, I made a connection and eventually got me a career job. That career job, obviously didn't last, but the friendship that I had out of it still does.
Experience, yeah. I found a picture of me in Retroid the Gauntlet 2.
Oh yeah, the second Gauntlet,
in
yeah,
2015. God, that was a long time ago. It's 10 years
yeah,
ago.
10 years ago, man, for the second one.
The headmaster won the championship trophy.
That's right.
All right.
For those that don't know what the Gauntlet was, it was basically set up as our Nintendo World Championship, where we'd have multiple games with scores involved, and you had to like beat your way through the Gauntlet to win. It was a lot of fun to plan that, because it was just like, oh man, the Wizard was awesome. I want to have a gauntlet of games to have to go through to go against other people.
I want to add, I beat the champion. That's what's important.
Yeah,
I beat the champion.
You did.
It was was it Tetris, Fusion Frenzy, Need for Speed Underground 2, the drag mode. And there was like Busta Groove was the last game.
Yeah, Busta Groove was the last one. I remember the first one. I don't remember all the games. I'll see if I think somewhere on my Google Drive I still have some of the documents for it. But I remember we had like Geometry Wars as well as like one of the score ones.
That's
like,
a fun game, yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun to plan it, and it was fun just to see people get interested and like hyped on it.
Yeah, I just wanted to, Woo! Andrew said, "Woo!" All right, y'all. Oh, go ahead, man.
I was gonna say, just while we have a hot minute, let me see if I.
Please do.
While I was pulling that up, that just actually made me think of one game I would love to see in a sort of gauntlet style challenge. Crash Mode Burnout Revenge.
What's that? Oh, Burnout Revenge.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be so fun. Just LAN party.
This is obviously a little bit dated now, but what we did was we had a bunch of like retro systems and games like spread out across all of ours. We'd bring, like, I had a Dreamcast and a bunch of Dreamcast games, so I'd bring that, throw on like Power Stone, because some people hadn't played Power Stone and I wanted to introduce them to that. Or I'd bring over, and we had the original Xbox would have Halo for the longest time, but then I also brought like Rock Band, and I had a ton of DLC songs for that, so people would just jam on Rock Band all night and have fun with that. That was back when like Rock Band was a freaking thing. But I pulled up this. Sure, this is the competition ideas spreadsheet that we had. So let's see if I can bring it in here.
Oh no! Tecmo Bowl.
Hold on. Bo Jackson Band.
Yeah, that's cheating, man. Come on now. Come on.
Bo Jackson versus the Bears.
So Tecmo Bowl. These are just ideas that we had. So it'd be Tecmo Bowl on the NES. 2 participants. No, a coin flip to determine which player gets to be the bow. Choose a preferred team.
Oh, right? That's rough.
Yeah. So we also had like Power Stone on DC, Mega Man NES, Primal Rage on Genesis, Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball Home Run Derby, Dance Central 3, Lady Gaga 3-song Dance Off, Killer Instinct on the Xbox, Fusion Frenzy, obviously, which I think we did end up going with for that one.
Yeah.
Trauma Center, 2nd edition. Best grade winners move on. If there are same grades, the player goes with the best time. So, like, just throwing in random ideas for just like trying something different, like to try to get people to like be in the tournament. Yeah, 4-player competition. 4-player competition on trivia and mini games.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. And here is the Gauntlet 2, 24-player cap.
Oh yeah, Kung Fu Chaos. There you go.
Kung Fu
it was
Chaos.
Midnight Club too. It wasn't Need for Speed Underground.
Ghouls and Ghosts, high score tournament, bottom 4 are out. So this is like we whittled down like pyramid style, right?
Yeah.
Or elimination style, sorry. Midnight Club 2, Time Splitters 2, and then ended with Bust a Groove. And then at the very end, the Pog Battle, winner takes all. If it came down to like
Pog Battle.
Yeah, the Pog Battle, man. But we had the rules set and everything. It was just fun to plan this kind of stuff. But like I just remember we had an entire spreadsheet of new and old software, everything we had. We'd inventoried it all, like what we had to work with. It was a lot of fun, man. It was just really, really cool to kind of like plan it out, get people involved, and think like, okay, if we had to do a gauntlet, like what games we want to stick on people, and then we throw in a curveball like Trauma Center, and it's like a game most people haven't really played.
Yeah,
and it's like, all right, you got to do this, and you got to do it under time, and you have to have the best score, and it's just like, whoa, okay.
That's the Wizard. Like I think some of the games weren't even like Mario 3 wasn't even out yet, right? It's still a curveball.
No, that was their announcement for it.
Yeah,
was
exactly.
that movie?
God, it's so cool. Not anymore. Anyway, man, good times. It turned out to be a nostalgia night, so that's good. All right, any last
a little bit?
any last words before I close out for the night?
No, thanks for having me back.
I mean, you're one of us. Welcome back.
But on my end, I'm actually looking at changing up my schedule starting this week. So. Now my stream schedule is basically going to be, Tuesday night through Saturday.
Okay, so you're pushing it like by one day, right?
Yep. So basically, my streaming weeks are now going to start with this right here. So
okay, there you go.
Tuesdays y'all can catch me here. Wednesday through Saturday, y'all know where to find me.
Awesome. All right, what I got here. All right. We've hit tonight's final save point, guys. We did it. Here's another one. Here's the 40, right? 10 more to 50. That's another goal. We celebrated gaming's weirdest gear, questioned the remake craze, and reminded ourselves that the real growth often comes from the side quests. Now, those moments when we wander off the main path and need to find something we didn't know we always wanted. Well, remember, you don't always have to rush to the final boss. Take time for those detours, explore, and enjoy the little moments in games and in life. Huge thanks to Ace, and of course, Nick, Tragically Neat, welcome back. And also the whole class for showing up tonight. Shout out to all of you in chat, keeping the conversation alive. And until next time, keep your meters charged, your side quests active, and your heart full. This is your headmaster, GQAzndood, signing off. Till next time, class dismissed. Y'all take care for the night. Excellent. Where's my thing?
Excellent.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
Love it.